what did I see? What did I see when you sing it? What did I see when you swing it? That funny old tune will drive me to ruin. It came along and made me a slave. Things that I should crave. It came along and made me a slave. Now I'm craving things that I should crave.
It would probably help if I unmuted the mic, huh? I'm good at this. I've almost been doing this for a year streaming, about 10 years otherwise. Ooh, Hype Train, beautiful. So, welcome to Tinfoil Tuesday on a Wednesday. If you weren't here yesterday, we did do a Tinfoil Tuesday, but it only lasted about an hour, so we did some short things, and that was fun. I had to cut it short, though, because I had very important business to get to. That business was getting together with actual Jake, Sarah, and some other people to watch the Snyder Cut of Justice League. So, there's 4 hours of my life I'll never get back. How was the Snyder Cut? I'll talk about it in a little bit. I'll give you a full breakdown. Hoi Polloi, thanks for 100 bits, says, yeehaw! Hylian Derp, thanks for subscribing with 11 months, says, how has it been nearly a year? I know, this past year has just flown by. DM Trey, thanks for subscribing with 11 months. Towing24, subscribing with another 11 months, says, bonus tinfoil, woo. RTK142 says, bits for Dr. Levine being confirmed today. She did great here in Pennsylvania. She'll do great for the nation as a whole. Nice. Did you laugh as hard as you did? Probably. Cotton Candy 903 says, hi Hannah, how are you today? I'm good. Bardlock Moses with 100 bits says, bits for the stream, I missed yesterday. Ooh, my throat's having a hard time today. I've been taking a break from, let's just say, the consumption of the devil's lettuce. But yesterday, while we watched the Snyder Cut, I can say this because it's legal here in Michigan, we partook of some of the jazz tobacco, and my throat's a little iffy from it. How am I today? I'm good, Cotton Candy. Bardlock Moses says, bits for the stream I missed yesterday. Hoi Polloi says, your hair is so curly and cute. My bangs will not behave. They haven't behaved in like a month, and I'm so tired of them not doing what they should be doing. Herethin with 100 bits says, Tuesday Part 2, Electric Boogaloo. History Chick 96 with 100 bits says, good evening. I hope you had a good day. I hope you've had a good day as well. Daddy Sume says the devil's lettuce is what I call pubes. No one uses that word for pubes. Jeff Millart says, one of the songs in your pre-show playlist is a dude talking about being enslaved or craving things that he shouldn't crave. He's talking about butt stuff. Shocked Pikachu. If that's your interpretation. Great. Okay, so Snyder Cut. We're at 29% of the level 2 hype train, by the way. So, if we want me to tinfoil up, we gotta bump those numbers up. Daddy Sume says it's for eating the puffy burger down south. If you say so. Are we keeping our bingo cards or getting new ones? Good question. I'm gonna say getting new ones, just so everyone starts out on an equal playing field today. There's for level 1 of the hype train. We're at level 2, 31%. Okay. So, Snyder Cut. The Snyder Cut was bad, but the Snyder Cut was also better than the theatrical cut. So, would you rather have a worse movie that's shorter, that only takes like 2 hours to finish, or a pretentious, bloated 4-hour auteur piece written by and directed by the guy that made Sucker Punch? Kind of a pick your poison situation. There were some cool parts in the Snyder Cut, because that's kind of Snyder's thing, is he's really bad at constructing an overall narrative, but like, he can do a couple shots and scenes that you're like, okay, I see what he was going for here. But overall, I don't think I'll ever watch the Snyder Cut again. I have no reason to. Literally, at the end of the movie, the Joker... okay, first of all, at the end of the movie, spoilers? I don't know, I won't give super details, but there'll be some dialogue spoilers, I guess. At the end of the movie, the Batman says to the Joker, "We only have 30 seconds left on the hype train. We're at 69%. Someone give some subs." What was I gonna say? Shit. Oh, okay, so it's the end of the movie, and Batman says to the Joker, "I will fucking kill you," which is not something I want to hear Batman say to the Joker. And then in return, okay, not quite to level 2. Wait, did it? No, we didn't. Shit. The gift subs were just a little bit too late. Thank you, though. I'll go over those in a second. Oh, so in return for Batman saying, "I'll effing kill you," to the Joker, the Joker replies, "You won't kill me. Who else will give you a reach around?" Which is not dialogue I need to have happen between Batman and the Joker, believe it or not. Hoi Polloi, thank you for 20 bits. RTK142 says, "I'd rather have more Marvel." I agree. Mitchell Drummer, thank you for subscribing with an 8-month streak. Says, "Hey Hannah, hard to believe it's been 8 months already. You and Jake are always so helpful when it comes to figuring out gender stuff, so I can't thank you guys enough for creating this amazing community." Of course. MMO Addicted says, "I'm cutting back on donations. Sorry, Hannah, but my teeth will take upwards of 10 grand to fully fix, and I got to tighten the belt. I'll make it up to you next Christmas." Oh, of course. I would never expect anyone to donate money if they cannot afford it. I don't want anyone ever to get that impression. I appreciate the support to keep the stream running, but if it's not something you can afford, don't do it, because your money is your money and you need it more than me. Mitchell Drummer with 85 bits, Cotton Candy 903 with 20 bits says, "As a DC fan, DC needs to get its shit together." Shazam was alright. I enjoyed Birds of Prey. Joker was good. Bardlock Moses with 100 bits. Bay Cop 2027, thank you for gifting 5 subs to the community. And Kingdom Reborn 487, thanks for gifting 5 subs to the community. Hoi Polloi, thanks for extending your subscription through August. Daddy Sume with 20 bits says, sounds like you and me, Hannah." No. Just think, in a month or so, you'll have to watch the Snyder Cut alternative version, Justice League Grey, which will be it in black and white, but with alternative scenes, especially during the Joker scene at the end. Zack Snyder legitimately wanted to release the Justice League Snyder Cut in black and white, which is so him, right? Zack Snyder is pretentious, but, like, at least certain pretentious people actually have something to say. But Zack Snyder's the idea of, I think, like a dude bro trying to be pretentious, but not having anything significant to say. So he just, like, makes things really dark and morose and serious and sad. And he thinks that in and of itself is, like, a message or a theme. And it's not. Like, that's the wrapping paper you're supposed to put the story and the message in, not just an empty box with wrapping paper that's all gray and shit. It's terrible. RTK142 says, "Never have I heard a better take on Snyder." Snyder is Hollywood Tate. Sure. Anyway, we have a lot of stuff to potentially cover today, so it'll be a good Tinfoil Tuesday. I wanted to start us off with something a little bit different. This is, I think someone sent this to me. I don't remember who. Thank you, whoever it was. It's, some conspiratorial people who are anti-vax, who are doing something in the park, and it's embarrassing.
Why are there so many useless extra people? when robots are so much more smart. People are human, all too human.
I really don't like the use of Rainbow Connection either, because I really like the Rainbow Connection song and I like the Muppets. So that's a shame.
People just break my heart. I've got a shot that will solve all my problems. If only you'll roll up your sleeve. Someday you'll get it, the vaccine connection. Big Pharma, little Fauci and me. Well, I'm just trying.
Do you think the right-wing think tanks have started pushing Bill Gates as the next big, like, evil left-winger who's behind and puppeteering things because George Soros is, like, super old and probably gonna die soon, so they have to, like, find some other, like, wealthy person who donates to sort of progressive causes, so they need to have rubes get mad at that person and be like, ooh, puppet master.
Trying to get everybody to take my new gene therapy vaccine. We're going to introduce a little sterilization like we did in Kenya.
None of that's true. Bill Gates, and again, I disagree with anyone being as rich as Bill Gates, but in terms of grading on a curve, Bill Gates at least puts a lot of money towards, like, medical development for developing countries. That's really great.
Perhaps some nanobots, that'll be fun. Something to fix to the brain stem and engage in physical control of behavior.
Engage in physical control of behavior. He thinks that the COVID vaccine is going to give Bill Gates control to robot your body around. Like you're an RC car or a Robo-Sapien from the early 2000s.
You know, most likely a much more smaller population that's more controlled. Already people are so very compliant, which is great. Everyone wore their masks so quickly and easily. I was very, very pleased with that.
It's almost like people are willing to, usually, unless they're jackasses, comply with public health safety measures because they care about their own safety and the safety of the community at large. Weird.
But there's another step we can take, which is total automation of the human soul. That's what I'm really hoping for.
Overthought says, Soros can't die. I haven't gotten my check from him yet. He's been slacking lately. He owes me like 5 checks.
I hope you'll join me. Step into my clinic. Your upgrade is ready. The transhuman age has begun.
They fearmonger about transhumanism, too, which I find very funny. If you don't know, transhumanism is, like, the idea of, like, augmenting humans with genetic therapies or with cybernetic implants. Like, I don't even find that concept scary at all. Like, people are gonna do what they're gonna do at their own risk. I don't really care. I don't know why the concept of transhumanism is inherently frightening to people. Bardlock Moses says, I'm going to keep wearing my mask during flu season. Probably a good call. That's not abnormal for a lot of places in the world, honestly. I kind of hope that becomes a thing in the United States. Would probably keep flu cases down moving forward, which would be great.
I've got a shot that will make you compliant, sterile, and stupider too.
10% of the American population has already gotten the COVID vaccine. One of the 3 that currently are FDA approved. There hasn't been some large issue as of yet. They're all fine. At what point do these people go like, oh, we were wrong. Nothing bad happened to the people who took the vaccine. Weird.
Someday you'll get it, the vaccine connection. Your body's my nanobots in me. All of us going to hell. Thank you for making it easy.
MMO Addicted says, I'm not taking my mask off as long as humanity exists, and Cotton Candy 903 says, but don't we already use electronic implants for things, and prosthetics have come a long way. Yeah.
Young Patriot Society!
Oh, boy. How did it take me to Irish Demons channel? That was weird. The same person did an interview with the QAnon shaman before he got arrested. Interesting. Out of all the conspiracy stuff that we tend to cover, the anti-medicine stuff annoys me the most, just because it's the most harmful, I think. It's up there. It's up there. The Q stuff, which is also tied into the vax stuff, obviously has caused people to become extremists, and that's also bad, as we saw on January 6th, but the vaccine stuff is definitely neck and neck with it in terms of danger to overall society. Andrew Patella says, the only transhumanism I care about is one that will enhance humans with tea, estrogen, boobs, penises, vaginas, or lack thereof. Bumble Homestead, thank you for gifting a sub. MMO Addicted with 20 bits says, I commissioned a party shot of my Warhammer team. Here's the sketch. Hold on, I'm trying to pull it up. Oh, that's cool. I like this character here on the right. Gives me a little steampunky vibes. I like that shit. Flower Girl 13, thanks for subscribing with 9 months. That's a stream baby. This stream baby's name will be Angela Bassett. Okay. Someone talking about estrogen just made me remember I forgot to take my medicine today, my hormones, which is unfortunate. I've been doing really good on doing it all on time, actually, recently, but I forgot today, so I gotta go do that. I'll be back in just a second. Listen to this or something while I get the hormones. Cool. If anyone's curious what this stuff looks like, I'll let you see it, and then we'll get into the actual thing for, We'll look at the bingo card, because the Bill Gates song had some stuff in it. Yeah, we probably need to do another PO unboxing soon. So this is what my estrogen pill looks like. It is blue. This is what the anti-androgen looks like, which is the testosterone blocker. Yeah, the estrogen pills are shockingly tiny. Like, who would have thought this fucking... it's this small. It's twice a day. And then this, one of the most important pills of all, this is omeprazole. This is literally just over the counter. This is so I don't get acid in my stomach. But I take them all at the same time, so. Keirthan says, I used to have to take omeprazole. Why do you end up having to stop? I think I gotta take it every day for the rest of my life, because whenever I don't take it, I can't sleep at all because of how bad my acid, reflux gets. Cropkinist says, I'm getting my first prescription of titty Skittles today. I've watched you and Jake since 2012, and your coming out really helped me a lot. I got started on 2 milligrams of estradiol. I never know how to pronounce estradiol. I just call it estrogen because I don't know how to pronounce the medical word. And 50 milligrams of Spiro 2 times a day, and I'm very excited. Good for you. Good for you. Your symptoms went away? Good. I forgot the Satan pill. That's true. That's the estrogen. Is also doubles as my Satan pill. God, I need to get a fan in here or something. I'm already warm. Whew. I'm almost glad we didn't get higher than like a level 1 hype train. I would have to wear that reflective jacket. I'd be dying. Estradiol? I don't know. This window is open. It's open. It's a little humid out. It's been like sprinkling, so I think it's just like humid. That XY girl says I'm a fan. Jokes. Freaking Out 99 says, MMO Addicted is the best GM. He constantly outdoes himself with fun sessions, no matter what we're doing. I've never been bored, and I always find myself craving the next session. Thanks for being amazing, pal. That's good. I'm glad. I have D&D tonight, too. I'm excited. It'll be fun. Okay, let's get to an actual... Oh, we need to look at the bingo card. Population control is a motive / forced sterilization because of the Bill Gates song. Is there anything else? I'm gonna say tracking microchip implants. I think that was kind of implied. I think that's probably it. No, we're doing new cards today, so everyone starts off on the same page, whether they were here or not yesterday. I wish I didn't get up and down as often as I tend to do on this show, otherwise I'd just wear no pants while I stream, because it gets so hot. I really shouldn't be... I'm wearing, like, fleece Superman pants that I was wearing yesterday for the Snyder Cut viewing we were doing. And I really should change into shorts or something, because I'm warm. Hello, Baha. Welcome. Welcome to the stream. Oh, what are we going to start with today? There's so many options.
If you've ever...
Let's do a call for an uprising first.
Because
For an uprising.
a call for an uprising.
This is a call for an uprising. Welcome to today's show. I want to show you repetition that I've noticed, that I've put together, because I feel like it's easier for you to see how these movies and all these shows and why it's important to see these things, how they're using predictive programming to prepare people for what is next to come. I've talked about transhumanism. There's a lot of people on YouTube who are experts at it. There's this mindset of downloading your soul or downloading your consciousness into an AI or into a robot. This is what the elites believe is going to give them eternal life.
I think it's just kind of a cool sci-fi concept. I don't know the first person who enshrined that as like a sci-fi trope, the idea of like downloading your brain into a computer, but that's certainly a concept in science fiction. This is a problem that A Call for an Uprising tends to have, where he'll see some sort of common literary trope or a common trope in fiction in general, and then he will then imply that it's pre-programming to prepare people for something, which is incredibly silly. It would be like me saying, oh, time machines appear in sci-fi all the time. That must mean that the government has a secret time machine that they're preparing us for. Or, oh, unicorns show up all the time in media. They're hiding unicorns from us. You could do this about literally any element of fiction that comes up time and time and time again. Superheroes. Superhero movies are huge. Oh, superheroes secretly exist and they're hiding them from us. No, people just have elements in their fictional stories that get used over and over again. Tropes are a thing. Cliches are a thing. Genres are a thing, and genre conventions exist within those genres. It's not a conspiracy, it's just how narrative functions within a culture.
Makes them believe that they're never going to die. They actually believe this. Like, God can't come down here and destroy a robot and kick it right in the nards and throw it into the pit. But this is what they believe. And
I do like the idea of a bunch of billionaires putting themselves in robot bodies, and then literal biblical Jesus comes down and kicks the shit out of them. And he's like, I said it was easier for a camel to go through the eye of a needle than for a rich man to get into the kingdom of heaven. And he kicks the robot in the robot balls. I don't know why they gave it robot balls. Probably hubris.
There's been so much predictive programming in films talking about this like it's a good thing, of how cool it would be to be able to download your consciousness onto a hard drive or download it into a computer.
I mean, it's better than the alternative, which is dying, and then your brain meets, rotting, until they're gone, and then you cease to exist. I mean, you cease to exist the second you die, in the way that, you know, who you are matters. Your physical body still exists, but you, the person, the personality, ceases existing. So if there were some way to make a copy of me or something, even though it wouldn't really be the same me that's me, unless there was some way to literally transfer, but that's like soft sci-fi. That's borderline science fantasy at this point. That'd be cool, but I don't expect it to ever really be a thing. If it is, great. Put my brain in a computer, please. I just don't think it's going to be a thing.
So that you can live forever, have immortality. We've seen it in the X-Files. You've seen it in a lot of different movies.
The X-Files also had like a shit monster, I think, in one episode. Does that mean shit monsters are real? It like lived in the sewer and ate shit or something? I haven't seen the X-Files in a while. Am I remembering that correctly? Or did I make up an episode of the X-Files in my head where it's a shit monster? Hold on. X-Files. Poop monster? It autofills, so... 12th episode of the 3rd season. Monster of the Week story. Small town plagued by deaths. Like, I could have sworn there was a gosh darn poop monster. Hold on, let me look at this list. 9 of the grossest, goriest sci-fi aliens. It was this thing. Maybe it's just that it lived in the sewers. The Fluke Man. Fluke Man, super evolved fluke worm, lives in the sewers and drainage pipes. Peering up the working end of a porta potty and seeing some fleshy buttocks to chomp on. Bathrooms are... That's why. Gotcha. He attacks people in the bathroom. That's why I thought of him as a shit monster. My bad. I gotta rewatch X-Files sometime. It's a good show.
Here are some clips and some repetitions so you can see that this stuff isn't original content, right?
Okay, nothing is... How do I put this? Who's the guy that wrote the whole thing where it's like, oh, there's like 7 narratives? Hold on. Let me look this guy up. Christopher Booker, looks like. Basically, it's the idea that you can take any story that exists and break it down into one of 7 different kinds of stories, right? There are elements in stories that are used over and over again, and they're just recombined into different contexts and times with different characters and different tropes, but their architecture is more or less the same. Joseph Campbell was the hero's journey guy, so a little bit different, I think. This is a separate thing. So it's very interesting, and of course you can look at basically any piece of fiction and take it down to its component parts and say, this comes from this trope comes from here, this characterization is very similar to characters from this, and that. That's true. The line between original creation and plagiarism is basically how much you're able to mix it up. I don't mean to, not to say there are no original ideas, but especially at this point, the tropes of genres and subgenres are so enshrined that even if you're subverting expectations in your medium or genre, usually it's by taking elements from other mediums or genres and mixing them in with what you are doing. So, like, what's a good example of this? Predator, which is not a new movie, but I think it's good for this. Like, Predator starts off as sort of your typical 80s action movie. You have a bunch of commandos in the jungle that are going to go and fight some drug cartel or something, and they have their action scene or whatever. Now, this trope is then subverted, your typical 80s strongman action character-based, oh, we're a team of crack special forces members. That's subverted by bringing in a sci-fi movie. All of a sudden, it's a mishmash of that sort of action-y Arnold Schwarzenegger thing and an alien movie. And that's a mishmash. Now, are either of these concepts on their own wholly original? No. Marine, like action movies, done to death, especially in the 80s. Aliens fighting humans movies, done to death. But you kind of mix these subgenres together and you get something else, okay? It's not about... Different recipes can use the same ingredients. What matters is what you do with those ingredients to make an original dish.
Everybody always thinks, oh, there's this new movie. They don't realize it because their brain isn't processing the fact that they're seeing the same thing over and over and over. Just like with music, right? Every song it might sound different, have a different beat, but the lyrics are the same nonsense, nothing. Talking about money, drugs, right? And rock and roll, talking about hell, being bad, all this.
His last exposure to rock music was the year 1986, apparently.
But they don't realize that all the music's the same, that all the movies and the plots are the same, right? All these movies about alien invasions, right? The same movies come out every month. Demon possession. Okay, the same can be said with, this type of, there's movies cloning, right? All this stuff, and artificial intelligence. And, transhumanism. The same can be said for all of these topics that I talk about on this channel and many other people talk about. But when you see it pieced together, your brain starts to unplug from this stuff. And that's why I feel like what I do on this channel is so important. I don't feel like I'm important, but I feel like what I'm showing you as far as, finding all of this stuff and putting it together in a row so that your brain can process it and go, oh, wow. Because if you don't see it like that, you forget. You see a movie, you forget. 5 years later, you see a movie, different actors, same plot, but you don't remember that it's specifically, oh yeah, this other movie, unless it was like something that you absolutely adored.
That's just untrue. Like, I don't really like Pocahontas or Dances with Wolves, but I can look at it and go, Avatar took a lot of those same sort of tropes and applied them to a different environment, being a sci-fi environment. And I don't like Avatar either. Like, people do this all the time. Comparative analysis between different stories in the same genres or even different genres that share elements is common to the point that I even feel silly pointing that out. Like, do I need to explain to people that people understand that tropes or elements from one story can appear in another story in a new context, in a new way, and it's not nefarious, it's just how narrative works?
Like Star Wars with a different name or something like that. And even those things, and trust me, I don't adore Star Wars. I think it's one of the worst movies ever. I always like to throw that in there.
He's like the guy that's gotta be like, oh, you like the Beatles? I don't like the Beatles. It's like, alright, that's fine. You don't have to like Star Wars, but it feels a little hipsterish to be like, I think Star Wars is one of the worst movies ever made. Really? Do ya? Or are you just a contrarian? Are you just a contrarian? Just wondering. A call for a hipster. Again, I'm not saying you have to like or love Star Wars. If you don't like Star Wars, that's fine. But it's just like, it feels like you're having an opposing opinion for the sake of it. When you're like, I think Star Wars is one of the worst movies ever made. It's not. It isn't.
Whew, man, talk about. Really glad I grew up and wasn't into that nerd fest. But anyway, all these things are
Glad I'm not into that nerd fest. Let me get back to explaining how all of pop culture is a conspiracy to try and get me to take medicine.
these movies, even something like that, like Star Wars, pretty much has the same plot, right? Star Trek, Star Wars, all these space things. I never got into that stuff, but
Star Trek and Star Wars have very different plots. Just because they both take place in space doesn't mean they have things to do with each other outside of that. Maybe you should know what you're talking about before you talk about it. Otherwise, you just sound silly.
you know what I mean. So look at the repetition here with how they are constantly showing you this in a pattern, whether it's through comedy and deflecting to make it seem cool, which I'll show you, or it's through, serious movies that are trying to say this is a good thing and watch out for the dangerous people who want to stop it from happening, like this Johnny Depp movie. Take a look for yourselves.
He's about to show a bunch of clips of different things talking about transhumanism.
I just finished this fascinating book. By the year 2030, there'll be computers that can carry out the same amount of functions as an actual human brain. So theoretically, you could download your thoughts and memories into this computer and live forever as a machine.
Imagine a machine with a full range of human emotion.
Oh, that shitty Johnny Depp movie.
Power will be greater.
You get it. I'm gonna skip. You guys know that movies and stuff talk about putting your brain in computers. You've seen Black Mirror. You get it.
As you slip away, do you feel immortal? Offer humanity's
Avatar.
2030, there'll be computers that can carry out the same.
And this is exactly why. And this is exactly how they program people. Now remember, the way that magic works, in a sense, and I'm no magician, and I've never been into magic. I've never practiced that crap.
Magic isn't real. Illusions are real. Like, magicians are real in the sense that there are stage magicians that do really impressive illusions that take a lot of time and practice to learn how to do. But that's not magic. Magic doesn't exist. We live in the real world where magic is fake. It's unfortunate. I wish magic was real. I'd be a real wizard or witch, and it would be pretty fucking rad. But magic isn't real.
Okay, people know my testimony. People have listened to my channel a while. I never was on the dark side and came over. I might have an attitude. I might have a little, what is it called? Be a little aggressive of a speaker, which intimidates people. But never was into that stuff. But one of the things, if you research the occult and you try to expose them, that you learn is that magic, to enhance the power of the craft, they need to show you it in front of your face. Right? That's one of the reasons that they show a lot of these sigils and they splice them into music videos and stuff like that. Because they're using and they're actually putting a spell on you, or when you're watching these videos, you don't even realize it. Right? But this is spiritual warfare. This is how it works. Okay, so one of the things that they do, in addition to casting the spell, by showing it over and over, is they desensitize you from it, so that when it happens, it's not some shocking thing where you're going to be like, oh my gosh, what? Because they've been telling you it's going to happen. They've been easing you into it. So when it happens, people are just going to go, oh, that's pretty cool. Just imagine like in the Wild Wild West, if suddenly somebody came in and there was a clone.
I think they'd probably just assume they were twins. People knew what twins were during the Old West.
Of that person, right? Everybody would grab.
And also, the idea of, let me put it this way. A lot of pop culture and tropes in this day and age, because we kind of live in an era, despite the fact that there's still a lot of superstitious people, our culture is broadly naturalistic, right? And what I mean by that is, in the past, culture was dominated by magical thinking. People thinking, oh, out in the woods there's fairies and goblins and, stuff like that. And believing that witches were literally real, right? So they would take unexplainable things and their sort of shared stories, and a lot of it would be based in this idea of, like, magical, unnatural, supernatural stuff. Our narratives today, because we live in a post-Enlightenment society, despite all our issues, I would still define us as that, a lot of our concepts are naturalistic. So, like, the idea of a simulacrum, of a being that is like a doppelganger that looks exactly like you, in the old days, that would be given, like, a mystical explanation in fairy tales or stories. Whereas today, in a trope, in a story, if you're telling a story about something, you're going to use a clone, probably, because that has at least a sci-fi basis, right? Sci-fi tends to be more grounded than straight-up fantasy supernatural stuff. So, people in the Old West would not be baffled by the idea of a clone. They wouldn't understand the science fiction stuff behind it. But if you explain to them, this is basically a doppelganger of this person, they'd understand. They weren't idiots. They were just not as educated as we are today. Just like I'm not as educated, hopefully, as someone, 200 years from now or whatever.
And grab their guns and shoot the thing. Or just imagine, if there was this, right? Somebody was downloaded or a robot walked into town. I mean, they would light the thing on fire.
I don't think if a robot walked into an Old West town, they would light it on fire. I think, especially by the time of the Old West, people understood the concept. What does the robot look like? Is it like a beep, boop, I am a robot, like that? Because people in the Old West understood what machines were. Like, they wouldn't understand the machine. It would probably freak them out. But they'd be like, what the fuck is this machine? Whose machine is this? Like, I don't understand. Yeah, Clockwork Toys existed. Like, does he think everyone in the past were just complete rubes with no ability to think or understand concepts beyond that is concrete in their literal world? Jules Verne shit? Yeah.
And probably do more than that. I mean, the thing would be decapitated. The reason that they do the predictive programming is so that stuff like that doesn't happen in the future. So that when they push the microchip, when they push transhumanism, that people aren't going to rebel against it. They're going to be eased and comforted into it because it's not going to be a shock to their system. It's not.
These things are not compulsory. If you don't want to go get robot arms or whatever, don't get robot arms. It's fine. No one cares. Do your own thing.
Not going to be a shock to their brain. Okay? That's important to remember. Very important to remember, because that's how they do this. That is how mind control works. So one of the biggest things that they use in mind control is the repetition, which I constantly show you. The repetition, the desensitizing, and the predictive programming. Those are the three essential keys that are used through the mind control process. And they're doing it on all of us every single day, whether you realize it or not. I read people in the comment section all the time, and they're like, get rid of your TV, get rid of your TV. And I'm just like, I know you mean well, and I don't want to hurt anyone's feelings. That doesn't mean anything. You're on the internet. The internet is the TV now. People don't have cable anymore. You could still watch everything. If you're on YouTube commenting on my channel, guess what? You can watch all the same stuff on YouTube. TV shows, movies, it's all there. It's always there, right? If you have nothing and you just have your phone, they're still getting you with marketing ads, commercials. You really have to be off the grid. And sure, there's some people that are off the grid, but if you're on my channel watching this, you're not technically off the grid because you are connected to the internet, which means you're connected. And they're going to always use that to program and control you, okay? So the key, I know people say, well, the key is to get off the grid and do that. Well, if you can do that, do it. But if you can't, the key is understanding it and knowing it when it's happening to you, so that your brain can see it coming. So your brain can know what's going on. It can be aware. In other words, your brain can be turned on instead of shut off. Because most of the time in the day, people's brains are completely shut off. Completely.
Oh God, I wish I could shut my brain off.
They turn their mind off. They don't realize it.
It's just inner monologue. Constantly. Shut up. Shut up, brain. I don't care.
They're walking around. That's because they're in an alpha state. They're in a sleeping state. Like when you tie your shoes. Are you thinking? No, you automatically know what to do. The routine of everyday life. Get up, go to work, sit at your desk. This is all just happening without you really processing the things that are going on around you, right? And studying what's going on around you. When you wake up, it's more exhausting because your brain is constantly working, but you see these things. You see the repetition, you see the control, and then you understand how the matrix works, okay? Now, this is the type of video you should share with your friends. They might go, oh, there's no way they're going to download your brain onto a hard drive. Sure, they might think that now, but if you tell people 50 years from now that people in this day and age didn't think it was possible, they would laugh because they're going to be programmed into thinking it. And I think they have the technology to do it? I mean, technology/magic to do it? I'm sure that they think that they do. I'm sure.
Again, this is a grown adult man who believes magic is literally real.
Sure that they do, right? It's not something I'm worrying about because it ain't happening to me, and I mean, and Lord knows they probably don't want me inside of a robot living forever anyway.
Oh God, please. Listen, if I get robotized, I'm gonna call it robotized, okay? That's the official name now. You also have to get robotized. I don't want to be living in the year 3000 without a conspiracy theorist to make fun of on a consistent basis. Just come on, be a part of the robots with us, okay? And you can make up conspiracies about how they're drugging the robot oil or whatever, and I'll be like, ha, 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 the robot oil is fine. Joke about popular TV show in the year 3000. Ha 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 ha. Penis joke. Ha, remember penises? Now we all have robo-genitals. Ha ha. There's a little taste of what the show will look like in 3,000 years. It goes, the first 500 years are pretty good, but after that, it's all downhill. So, we got a little bit of time left together before the show turns to shit.
Okay, not that I want to be living here forever anyway either. It's already hard enough right now. I can't imagine if we're still here in 50 years, or the world's still here and the trumpets haven't sounded, what it'll be like. But share this with your friends. Hopefully it helps them wake up, at least to the repetition part of it. And what I'm saying clearly maybe, hit something in their head and they go, oh yeah, that does make sense. Because it should make sense. It's just simple human nature. Just like when we study animals and you know what they're going to do. Ooh, this is what, you watch the Animal Channel. You're like, this is what the lion's going to do. This is what the bear's going to do, right? You know where it's going to go. And these guys study them all day. That's what they do to us. They observe our behavior. And that's how they have us caught in this matrix, because they've created a giant bubble to trap us in, because they know how to hold the cheese in front of our nose, or the carrot in front of our nose, right? Or the dollar in front of our nose, and how to lead us just walking into walls and never escaping it.
If the government wants to get me into a robot by offering me cheese, I'm down. Yes, that counts for the space in the bingo card, by the way.
So when your brain starts to see this stuff, you do escape it. I thank you for listening to today's show. I hope you found this video informative. And I'd like to thank everybody out there who supports the channel. Again, please support it if you can through Patreon. YouTube has really been squeezing down. I don't have a PayPal anymore. I just want to make that clear.
Oh, his PayPal got banned! Yay! We did it! Okay, we didn't do that. I had no idea about it, but nonetheless, that's good.
People keep trying to PayPal, and it's not going through for them, and they message me. The only way you can support is through Patreon. Watching the ads in full helps the channel out greatly. And there's also a Teespring store for shirts and things like that, which is pretty much the same as doing PayPal anyway. At least, you got something for it. Thank you all. God bless you and your families.
Beautiful. Thanks, Call for an Uprising. You're nailing it as always.
If you've ever
Thinking about.
uprising,
Oh, this is Biden being like, hey, by May 1st, everyone should be able to get the vaccine.
This is a call for an uprising. Welcome to today's show. The world's going to change on May the 1st. Well, it's going to open up more doors on May the 1st. And hey, I'm not even just talking about how more and more people are going to be allowed to receive the jab as of May 1st out of our president's own mouth. But I'm also talking about the doors that are going to open, because May 1st wasn't just chosen by coincidence. Instead of saying the end of April, April 31st, May 1st happens to be the Beltane. Now, if you're not familiar with the Beltane, it is one of the most precious holidays on the satanic calendar. Second, of course, to Samhain.
I gotta look this up. Beltane is the Gaelic May Day festival, most commonly is held on May 1st, about halfway between the spring equinox and the summer solstice. Historically, it was widely observed that this isn't satanic. This is Celtic? Does he just think everything that isn't, like, strictly Christian is satanic? Oh, that's whatever. You get it. He thinks it's pagan, therefore satanic. That's kind of hilarious. Pretty problematic, too, to be like, oh, this cultural festival that people have been doing for centuries? Satan. Observed throughout Ireland, Scotland, and the Isle of Man. In Irish, the name for the festival is La Bealtaine. In Scottish Gaelic, Le Bealtaine. I know I'm screwing that up. Mentioned in some of the earliest Irish literature and is associated with important events in Irish mythology. Marked the beginning of summer, when cattle were driven out to the summer pastures. Rituals were performed to protect the cattle, crops, and people, and to encourage growth. Yeah. Typical festival shit. It's not satanic in any way, shape, or form. Or Samhain, whatever you want to call it, which is Halloween. This is a date between... Halloween originates in part from that, but Halloween is not that, no. Halloween is Halloween. Excuse me, the spring equinox and the summer equinox, where they believe the veil is at its thinnest other than Halloween, where they perform all types of rituals on people. And this is nothing more than a ritual. Because why? They all want everyone to get the old jabberoo, right? That'd be good, because it would keep you and people around you from getting exposed or suffering... What's the word? Suffering symptoms if you were to come in contact with COVID, yeah. And again, I talk about on my website, callforanuprising.com, which you haven't joined yet. You should definitely join or consider joining before this channel is taken off of YouTube, because look, this is my 4th or 5th channel. All of the other ones, 2 of them been deleted, which were backup channels. I have a couple existing. I can't even keep track. I'm not somebody special. They do this to all truther channels. But again, I built this one out. But callforanuprising.com is uncensored content. There's so much stuff that you can learn there. I gotta go to his website at some point and sign up. I guarantee it's awful. Hold on, let me take a look real quick at the pricing before we end this segment, and we'll go through the bingo card. $2.99 a month. Does he accept PayPal? Or do I have to actually give this psycho my card information? Because I'm certainly not doing that. Why can't I back out? I can't back out of the... Oh, that's ridiculous. Okay. Forum. Sign up. I'm not dealing with this. He's got a podcast. Okay, I'm not giving this guy my information right now, so I'd have to make a dummy email and stuff. I know, I could make a privacy card too. Either way, that's a call for an uprising for today. Still paranoid as always. I can't wait for his next channel ban. Hopefully it'll be soon. Bingo card stuff. A call for an upselling. That's pretty good. I like that. So we got cheese. He said satanic, so satanic. I'm going to say misattribution of coincidence because of the whole May 1st thing. And he did mention the Matrix, so I'm going to go ahead and go with the Matrix thing. Spurious symbology. What did he say that was... I mean, he does that all the time, so I believe you. I just don't remember what specifically he said that was spurious symbology. The film clips. I don't know. That's not really symbology. It's him referencing movies and stuff. I'm going to say that doesn't count. I don't think word salad. What he says is stupid, but I understand what he's saying. It's just stupid what he's saying. Didn't mean to do that. One second.
The troops, where is that place?
Let's check out Monkey Fists. Monkey Fists is a conspiracy theorist, believes basically believes that Trump is still secretly president in some way, shape, or form. Of course, that's untrue. Joe Biden is the president. He won the election. This guy can't seem to cope with that, though. So let's see what he has to say.
So I want to...
Oh, yeah, this comes out real quiet. Hold on, let me figure out if I can adjust the... I thought I downloaded an extension that lets me up the volume. 1 second. There we go.
Mention a interesting story.
Is this any better?
A lot of strange things going on.
Hold on, I'm working on it.
You know, people got to see that everything surrounding Joe Biden.
Maybe if I do this.
The reality is,
it's a little better.
First secretary and him never
read the bit messages before we start. That's a good point. RTK142 says, but Hannah, of course the government has a time machine. How else can Ted Cruz be the Zodiac Killer? Also, what if God can't destroy a robot? Then he's not all-powerful, is he? Emma Addicted says, robot balls, eh? Do you want me to dig up the old Cyberpunk catalog of Mr. Stud enhancements? It's a fun read. I'm good. Chibbers with 100 bits says, random fun fact, that camel needle passage might be a mistranslation. The word for camel is also the word for rope in Aramaic, and a rope through the eye of a needle makes more sense for the sewing analogy. Bay Cop 2027 with 100 bits says, shit monsters are real. Haven't you seen Dogma? Myri Rend, thank you for following. We didn't get Illuminati yet. Xandris, thanks for resubscribing with 11 months, says 11 months, 11, wait, this sub-length has to be the work of a reptilian Illuminati agent, puts on tinfoil hat. Cotton Candy 903 says, the hero's journey is everywhere. RTK142 says, I said it in a paper in college, I'll say it now, the Epic of Gilgamesh is basically a buddy road trip movie. Candy 903 says, you can even see tropes in religious beliefs. The concept of a great flood or world-covering ocean is pretty reoccurring. FH Nachmar, thank you for subscribing with 3 months. Jody Girl 78, thanks for resubscribing with 3 months. Bardlock Moses with 50 bits says he comes across like a tryhard. Elizana 79, thanks for following. Baycop 2027 with 100 bits says, I've only been following you since Monday, but it seems like these guys never have substantial evidence. You don't say. By the way, thank you for following. Lord Necro JZ says, I'm late because I was baking bread. What did I miss? Nothing too important, just call for an uprising's normal bullshit. Tucker White says, here's the difference. Star Trek is about exploring the cosmos, how humans have reached damn near utopia, and banging green women while chewing the scenery. Star Trek is basically a Gundam series with slightly less mechs. RTK142 says, nobody killed Data. Dantred3, thanks for following. History Chick 96 says, there's literally a Doctor Who episode with modern tech in the West. Cotton Candy 903 says, when humans see something they don't understand, we seek to understand. Humans don't like the unknown. Moonrael, thanks for resubscribing with 3 months. Tucker White says, this guy almost hit a point of brilliance by realizing every tech we have is just a tool for a giant corporate nightmare. Then he loses the plot and descends into absolute gibberish. Andrew Batella says, please, no one call for an uprising about TV tropes. RTK142 says, all my circuits and everybody loves Hypnotoads, best shows of the year 3000. Tucker White says, in 1,000 years, I hope Futurama head jars exist. Overthought with 100 bits says, do robot mice dream of electric cheese? Tucker White says, me, a sheep. May 1st is the anniversary of the launch of Amtrak. Knowing Joe Biden's love of Amtrak, that's probably connected. A call for an uprising, an intellectual. It's satanic. Fill your own punchline. Melted Snowcaps, thanks for resubscribing with 2 months. And Haku Jin with 100 bits says, hi Hannah, not gonna lie, seeing Tinfoil had me questioning whether I had been signing the wrong date on docs all day. That's funny. Okay, so like I said, let's check out Monkey Fists. Monkey Fists is a conspiracy theorist that believes Trump is still the president in some way, shape, or form, and that Biden is faking it or something. Of course, that's not true. Joe Biden won the election, and Trump is, I think, hanging out at his resort in Florida. But let's see how this guy is coping.
So I want to mention a interesting story. A lot of strange things going on. You know, people got to see that everything surrounding Joe Biden is beyond strange. It doesn't feel right. It doesn't look right. It doesn't seem right. Where he's doing his press conferences.
AKA, it makes you sad and mad. Therefore, it doesn't make sense.
Where is that place?
I don't know. Probably some places in the White House. Or elsewhere if he's speaking somewhere else. The thing says, let's see, this one on the bottom right says the White House, so that's somewhere in the White House. That's a library a little bit there, probably somewhere in the White House. 50 million COVID vaccinations. This also looks like it's at the White House based on the stuff in the back. And probably this is in the White House too. The White House has a lot of rooms.
Why is he the first president to use this, what is it? Where is it? Why is his...
I don't think he's the first person to use these rooms. I think the like, things that they put behind him, I think those are probably new.
His press secretary and him never in the same location at the same time.
I could probably find that, but I wouldn't... Hold on. Joe Biden and press secretary... I imagine they discuss things together, but I wouldn't necessarily expect to see them in the same place, because usually she's off giving the press briefings and answering questions, and meanwhile Joe Biden is off doing president shit. I assume they have meetings occasionally, like once a week or something, to kind of get on the same page and maybe talk about any issues, but why would they be in the same room at the same time in front of the press? Because if she's there, then she's there to answer questions for the administration. But if he's there, then that's what he'd probably be doing. It's just redundant. Where did it go? I lost the tab. There we go.
Why on Inauguration Day was he denied a government plane to Washington, D.C.?
Oh, I talked about this. I think it's because Donald Trump was butthurt, and he probably had to authorize it, considering Biden wasn't the president yet at the time, not until noon on January 20th. So I think Trump just didn't let them send him one. Also, if Trump and his people have been on not just Air Force One, but I imagine other government planes, I probably wouldn't want to fly on it either till it got a deep clean.
Why was the troops turning their back on him?
Ah, that's actually a good question. That was something that came up with, like, Q people, too, because during Biden's walk to the White House and his trip to the White House after he got inaugurated, there were troops that were there that were, like, you know, saluting him and stuff, and then there were other troops that had their back turned to him. So a bunch of conspiracy theorists were like, oh, they're turning their back to the commander-in-chief. They're showing their disrespect. He must really not be president. No. What happens is they're there to guard him, but also some of them are there to salute. So there are specific ones whose job it is to, when the president goes by, they salute him or whatever. And there's also ones who look the other direction because they're there to guard the president, so they need to be keeping an eye on the surroundings.
By the way, the being refused a plane, that's the first president-elect ever on Inauguration Day not flying a government plane.
Yeah, because Trump didn't give him one, because Trump's a sore loser man baby.
From their home to D.C. The first time ever. This is the leader of the free world. You want him in the most...
He wasn't at this point. Trump was. And Trump, being a child, refused to send a plane for him.
The most safest transportation on the planet. And yet his first trip to Delaware, after becoming president, again, not on Air Force One. I don't know what that was. That wasn't Air Force Two either. That was some old airplane they were riding back in the 50s.
That looked like a...
Why is he on Air Force One?
I don't know what Air Force One looks like off the top of my head, so I can't analyze that.
Again, this is the leader of the free world, the most important...
Weren't they, like, redoing or refitting Air Force One recently? I could be wrong, but I thought they were doing something with it.
One of the most important people on this planet. And yet, he's flying some other plane. He's not...
Trump redid it. Gotcha.
Allowed to use a call sign.
Fun fact, someone told me this the other day. Any plane that the president is on is Air Force One. By definition, it's the call sign for the plane the president's on. So the second Biden gets on a plane and it takes off, it's Air Force One.
First Air Force One. A lot of strange things. You know, he didn't have access to the Pentagon right away.
That's also untrue.
The Capitol is completely shut down. Like there's nobody there, it seems.
Still COVID restrictions, and also for quite a while there was really high security. It might still be there to some extent. I don't really know, because a bunch of idiots tried to kill members of Congress. I don't know if you remember. It was a pretty big historical event that happened this year in January.
It's like a ghost town. You know, the White House was 10 days of darkness when they first right after election. It's never happened. His first trip to Delaware,
let's see, that plane, C-32, military passenger transport of the United States Air Force, for C-32A, provide transportation for the United States leaders to locations around the world. Primary users are the Vice President of the United States, and the First Lady. It's often call signed Air Force 2. So presumably, the plane that is typically Air Force 1 was getting some maintenance or something done. Who knows what they were doing to it, so they just put him on what is typically Air Force 2. That took 5 seconds for someone to Google.
Suburban that picked him up from the airport, it looked like something they picked up off a car lot, and they scrubbed the internet out. You can't even find it.
No, it didn't. I just saw it. You just showed it. It looked like a car, an SUV, that they've definitely outfitted with bulletproof shit. And all sorts of stuff.
If you can find the video, love to see it again. And it didn't look like Secret Service there. And all the people surrounding him do not look like Secret Service. And why are the military not wearing pins? I mean, these are questions that it all looks strange. It all looks like he's not the president. That he's pretending to be a president.
He's doing a really good job considering he signed executive orders and bills and those things have come to pass. So he's doing a really good job.
I put a video up here a few weeks ago and the White House, the windows, out the back of the windows. That's not what it looked like when Trump was in office. It looks like he's not in the real White House. And there's other videos where
I like the idea that they'd go to the effort to make a fake White House, but then no one considered what the outside of the windows looked like. I like that in conspiracies, they're both all powerful, but also incredibly stupid.
Crack going down the that looks like partitions, like a.
It's this one. It's a door. You dumb motherfucker. It's a door. That's a door that's been in the White House for fucking ever. How have you never seen enough of the White House that you don't know that they have doors in the Oval Office that don't look like doors, that look like they're part of the wall? This is like a known thing. And you're like, oh, is it walls of the set coming apart? No, it's a door. It's a door. It would take you 5 seconds to look this up.
A studio. A crack right down the wall. It's outrageous. And again, your eyes are useless if your mind is blind. If you're not willing to see this, that's why people need to wake up. This was the most popular president ever, but yet you go on.
No, he's not. They always use that. I've never seen a single person on the left claim Joe Biden is the most popular president ever. He got the most votes because this election had the most voters of any election ever. And people hate Donald Trump, at least a good portion of people. Luckily, more people than like him. So Biden won the election. It's not that he's more popular, he just happens to be more popular than Trump. And then he points out these things, like the White House briefings having a ton of downvotes, even though it's entirely because whenever the White House posts anything, I go on like the Great Awakening .win and stuff because I like to keep track of conspiracy theorists, and also like patriots.win, and I swear to God, they'll just like post like the White House put out a new video. You know what to do. And these slacktivist losers will go and like, yeah, I downvoted a White House YouTube video. I showed Joe Biden, who probably doesn't even know how the internet works.
His on the White House YouTube page. Go on the White House YouTube page. Every single video except one. Every single video except one has more dislikes than likes. And we're not talking about a little. We're talking sometimes like tens of thousands of dislikes to the hundreds of likes.
Cool. Biden got like 7 million more votes than Trump, though, so I think I'll take that.
There's only one video, and that's with him and his wife, and I have no clue what it's about, but it is only one video in all of that. And I had to go through every single one because, you know, if I wouldn't have found that one video, someone would have been like, nope, there's a video right here. There's one video. And this was as a few days ago or a week ago. It's unbelievable. This man got
yeah, they're still coping. The cope is not going to stop.
More votes than Obama, than anybody ever, supposedly, and yet the White House page has more dislikes. I mean...
Yeah, because all the liberals went back to brunch, and I don't really give a shit what Biden has to say in his long, like, meandering, random, like, neoliberal white guy speeches. I don't really care. So I don't watch that shit. Unless, like, it's part of an article or something, and it's, like, a truncated version, but...
Look at his inauguration, you know, the views on that. Like 10,000. Some horrible YouTubers get more than that. This is the President of the United States. Again, when you're trying to lead the American people that everybody in America voted for this man...
Biden's inauguration had better ratings than Trump's, so...
You got to do better than that. Again, I did a lot of research since I've been off.
That's my research said by not a researcher on the bingo card.
And what I've found is just... it's insane. It is absolutely insane. But you know what? The information is there if you just want to see it. And half of us know. We already know the information. We already know that the CIA controls all the media. And if you don't know that, Operation Mockingbird. Again, everything that we've been taught is a lie. Everything. Everything. They have technologies that they haven't disclosed to the American people. There are things that we don't even know about ourselves. There are things we don't know about our world. There are things we don't know in our solar system.
There's a lot of things we don't know as a species. That's okay. You don't have to get so scared about it that you start constructing maddening conspiracy theories to try and explain away our lack of knowledge. We're doing our best.
I mean, it's outrageous. But if you don't know what some of this stuff is, go look at Operation Mockingbird. Go look at Operation Prism, where they collected every single person's data. Every single person's data. And here's the scary part. Here's what people don't realize. They literally designed, the military designed a psychological operation that was meant for foreign countries, not for America. And the people that invented this system, and this system is very scary, they are able to, with the information of the locals of whatever country they go to, doesn't matter where, it used to be a room full of people doing it, now it's AI. But with collecting all of your data, your locations, your GPS, your conversations, everything you've bought. I mean, they know so much. They know things about you you don't even know about you. They would go over to a country. They would infiltrate it using fear, your own guilt, your own horror stories that have happened to you, everything. Again, they use all that. Embarrassment, things you don't even know that anybody else knows. And they have a way to manipulate people. The only way I can explain it is like back when Saddam Hussein's statue was coming down, they displayed this crowd of people, made it seem like there was thousands of people there when there wasn't. There was only a couple hundred people there, and most of the people there were U.S. military dressed up in street clothes and media. It was propaganda to push out that this was what was happening over there. And they played it on, CNN like every 6.5 minutes and Fox News every 4.4 minutes to persuade the way we think. That media, it is lying, it is corrupt, and it is run by a corrupt group of people. The CIA, NSA, all of them are behind it. And it's to trick our minds, persuading us, again, using our own fears against us. But the people, again, that made that system came back stateside and realized they were using it on the American people. Go look at the research. A lady by the name of Emily Brandt, she wrote a paper on it called Pentagon Jiu-Jitsu, Reshaping the Field of Propaganda. And here's the thing. They made it legal in 2012. Obama made it legal to use propaganda against the American citizens. media is allowed.
Wait, do you think the American government didn't start using propaganda against American citizens until 2012? Oh boy. No one showed this guy literally anything about the military prior to 2012. Military recruitment.
To use propaganda on us.
Yeah, Vietnam.
So
the war on terror. Claiming there were like WMDs in in the Middle East. World War II.
Let's go back to 16 election. Remember Russia collusion. Putin helped Trump get elected. Remember all that? Again, we never once, after 4 years of investigations, found out anything on Trump being related to this. We know by...
Oh, look, another person who didn't actually read the Mueller report, but claims that it exonerated the president. Hooray.
Snowden, that the NSA and CIA were collecting every single person's data. That Obama had to do something with all this data collection because it was over data collection. They were collecting everything on everyone. And they had to get rid of it. They had to do something with it because it was too much. If Trump was dirty, they would have found everything out on him. They wouldn't have tried using the honeypot, trying to set him up in 2016, 2015, using the that Cambridge Analytica. He refused it multiple times. If he would have accepted their help, they could have got him on foreign affairs, meddling in the election. But he refused it.
He was literally named as individual one in an indictment of his personal lawyer for doing literally that.
Every single piece of evidence on him. They didn't find one single thing. And they had all the dirt on everybody. You got to think about this. If they're surveillancing U.S. citizens, including...
Surveilling. The word would be surveilling, not surveillancing.
Trump, but yet they didn't find anything on him? The reality is, this man worked for free. For 4 years, he didn't accept a single penny, not one single dime. He followed through on almost every single promise he made to the American people. One of the first presidents to ever, everything he said on the campaign trail, turn around and do it during his election.
Remember when Mexico paid for the border wall and then it got completed? Oh, then none of that happened? Cool. Just checking.
He did that even with the mainstream media, Hollywood.
Remember when Hillary Clinton got arrested? Lock her up. No? Remember when all the coal jobs came back? Oh, they're doing worse than ever? Cool. Is the swamp drained yet?
Every news network, everybody was against him. And yet, he worked for free. 3 hours a night of sleep, because he was tweeting. But whatever. That's commitment. And yet they didn't find one single thing on it. Why did they go after him so hard? Because maybe the same system that they were able to get all the information on every single person in the United States? Well, maybe Trump was able to get the dirt on them. It makes a lot more sense why they were against him and had everybody else. Why they went after him all day, all night. It was relentless.
Because he's a shitty person and potentially a worse president, depending on your bar for the presidency, I guess.
Single thing he did was wrong. And it makes sense. Again, this shit's all documented. There's proof of every single thing I'm saying.
I won't provide any of it, but it's out there.
Paper that was written explains how in 2009 to 2012, how they were able to use this psychological warfare against the American people. How running candidates use this system to win the election. And who was that? Obama. It's kind of funny that McCain's campaign manager was a general who became Obama's attorney general, who later went to start a company called Dynology or whatever, or Clear Force. There were so many of them, to the highest bidder. Anybody that wanted this information on anybody. Pre-employment screenings, you name it. Or rig election. Can't even make this stuff up. You really can't make this stuff up. But here it is. I'm the conspiracy theorist. I'm the crazy one. And look at everything that's happening with Joe Biden. Here's a prediction. Here very shortly, Biden's going to either come down with some illness, or maybe they'll finally let out his dementia, or maybe they'll use the 25th Amendment on him. They've already dropped that breadcrumb. But something in the next few weeks to next few months, they are going to kick Joe Biden out of the White House.
Okay. If they did for legitimate reasons, like he actually had mental issues or physical issues, great. That's why you have a vice president when you do an election, in case something like that happens.
And Kamala Harris is going to be the president of the United States of America. Can't even make this stuff up.
Okay.
Look at all the details.
She's the vice president, so yeah, that's how that works.
Look at the facts. Look at where he's doing his little press conferences from. Or the fact that Kamala Harris is doing most of the phone calls to foreign leaders, which doesn't normally happen. Again, doesn't normally happen. But he's a puppet, and there's puppet masters pulling the strings. And if you can't see this now, you can't even see the fact that this was rigged against you. This wasn't your candidate. We are living in the Matrix. Everything we were told is a lie. Go look at Operation Paperclip. Look at that Pentagon Jiu-Jitsu, Smith & Munn, the modernization of 2012. That's where they were allowed to use propaganda on the American people. It was the ability to disseminate false information to the American citizen. But this has got to make you think. If the CIA is controlling the media and NSA and the powers above us, then can you really trust anything the news said? And if you look back over the last 4 years, it makes a lot of sense how 1 minute you think he's getting impeached and the next minute he's not impeached. And then there's
He did get impeached. He didn't get convicted by the Senate. These are different things.
Some porn star that comes forward, and this is it. This is the bombshell. Walls are closing in. He's becoming agitating. He's separating himself from people around him. I mean, these stories were every day of every week of every month.
Yeah, he did a lot of bad shit.
And nothing happened. Look at even when they just bombed Syria or wherever, and the fact that Biden said he didn't know they were doing it, and neither did Kamala Harris. Again, who's running this show?
Joe Biden did not say he was unaware. Kamala, I think the story was that she wasn't aware, but Biden was aware.
Why is Washington dead?
COVID.
Why is there nobody in Washington? What is going on? I mean, that just came out the other day. The Pentagon lost like $9.5 trillion or $6.5 trillion. They have no clue where it went. And yet, like in 2019, there was something like $21 trillion missing that was unaccounted for.
Oh, so they're getting better. That's nice.
Wake up. We are being lied to, and again, we're just accepting it. I believe here soon they're already starting to disclose about aliens, but
God damn it. That's aliens on the bingo card.
I think they're going to use that as a false flag next. They're going to use aliens or something, because they don't really want to let that information out, but there's information leaking out about these deep underground military bases, these deep underground or under ocean bases, alien life forms, technologies that the American people don't know that we already have, that we've had since the 30s. Supposedly there's some treaty with the aliens. I know it sounds crazy and all that stuff, but this stuff is coming out. It's been declassified.
Really?
The CIA just like a week ago admitted to extraterrestrial life and UFO.
You did win, by the way, Innsmouth. So, congrats. I'll write your name down. Innsmouth swim team. Why don't they talk about Elvis anymore? Because people who are conspiracy theorists nowadays didn't grow up listening to Elvis, so they don't care.
Pose. Go watch Dr. Richard Greer, Grear. Go watch his videos. He was the guy that that debriefed every president since it was like Carter or Clinton. He's debriefed every president since one of those presidents on UFOs. I mean, we have their technology. Again, they've admitted this.
UFOs doesn't mean aliens. UFOs means unidentified flying objects. And much like UFOs in the 40s and 50s turned out to be experimental aircraft that the military was testing that civilians spotted every once in a while, I imagine a lot of UFO sightings today are probably the same. The Air Force is definitely still trying to invent new, scary ways of killing people from the air. I imagine they get spotted from time to time in these experimental planes or whatever. Gets called UFOs.
He's publicly stated and showed documents that we've had this technology, we've had flying saucers, and that most of the flying saucers are the U.S. government.
Okay, let me be clear on this. Air Force flying saucer. I don't know if you guys have ever seen any of the test flights of the flying saucer things. It goes badly. There's a reason they didn't continue to develop this technology, let me put it that way. They're not the most stable method of vertical liftoff and landing.
Research Center to prove the effects of these modifications with a short flight test program at Avro to establish that the hovering capability had not deteriorated. A brief terrain test program was later added. The modifications provided for aft deployment of the peripheral jet sheet from the wing tip for transition and pit.
So this is like a known thing. It just never really worked correctly. And I think they ended up deciding to focus more on like developing helicopters and stuff, which was probably the right move, all things considered.
To make us look crazy when we say we've seen a flying saucer. I mean, they literally had a campaign back in like the 50s or 60s, or maybe it was later on, but they were showing TV shows and movies about aliens, kind of making fun of it. So when people talked about it, it was a joke. People were laughed at. People were embarrassed. They changed our minds. Again, they use everything against us. They use our minds against us. They use our minds against each other. Why do you think we have race wars going on right now? They don't want us to realize one thing.
Probably continued systemic racism. That's probably part of it.
That we're all Americans and that we're all humans. We're all mankind. Doesn't matter about skin color. Skin color doesn't matter. But they want to make that a point.
I would agree that it shouldn't matter. I don't think anyone or their value or who they are is determined based on the color of their skin. But, unfortunately, we live in a world where there are people who do care about the color of other people's skin, and it affects people because of that prejudice. So you need to recognize that prejudice, while it might not exist for you, and I hope it doesn't, it does exist for other people in society who make decisions and end up hurting other people based on those prejudices. So we should be able to do something to mitigate that and keep people from being harmed because of the color of their skin. It's that simple. It's not a conspiracy. It's just the recognition that there are people who not only are prejudiced, but then use their power to apply that prejudice in a negative way towards people.
So that we have something to separate us, something to divide us, so they can conquer us. I've said this in other videos. Divided, we fall. together we conquer. They don't want us to know that. They don't want us to know this stuff. And if you knew what else they were hiding from you, I mean, again, I don't want to be called a quack right out of the gate, but
we're way past that. Let's be real. So you missed that boat.
A lot of stuff is starting to come to light, and it's a scary world out there. The adrenochrome, I mean, it's just...
He can't even pronounce adrenochrome correctly.
In one of my next videos, I'm going to talk about that, but the story goes, a guy ordered a bunch of USBs from Amazon, and one of them were open, and he was going to return it, and then he decided to look what's on it, and what he found on it was just the most disgusting thing he could think he could ever find. And that was a company that was operating just like any other company, extracting adrenochrome from kids.
And he just found this on a random USB? What?
Kids between the ages of 9 and like 14 or whatever, and how they got it, and basically you have to scare them until they're fear of death, and it's an adrenaline dump and released into the bloodstream, and it's the oxidation of that into the blood, and then it's extracted from the body.
Again, I talked to Baha about this because her major ended up being, and she's a fourth-year PhD student, or sorry, not student, I apologize, fourth-year PhD candidate in developmental genetics, but she also, I think she minored in, or almost had enough credits to double major in chemistry, so she knows about chemistry, and I asked her about this a while back, and she explained, if you did want adrenochrome, which is a real thing, but, if you wanted it, you could trivially have it produced in a lab for very cheap. Much cheaper than if you were to do whatever weird stuff this guy is saying. So, it makes no sense to torture children for adrenochrome when if you're rich, you can get as much synthesized as you wanted in a lab somewhere.
And apparently it gets people really high, and it gets them, it's like the fountain of youth, and if you see people...
That's untrue. It's not.
People that were on it, and just a month later they were no longer on it, they look like they aged 20 years.
No. Adrenochrome does not do that. It will get you high, but I've heard, from what I've read, it's awful and a nightmare. It's not a fun kind of high. It's like you injected yourself with a bunch of byproducts of adrenaline. Weird.
Half of Hollywood was on this. I mean, why do you think they kicked Mel Gibson out of Hollywood?
Because of the anti-Semitism. Because of the anti-Semitism.
Because he said that. He said they're not just raping kids, they're murdering them and drinking their blood. And I know how crazy it sounds, but go look at Isaac Cappy. He was a small-time actor in Hollywood. He exposed Seth Green. And in one of his last videos on Twitter, he says, "I do not feel suicidal. I am not going to kill myself." And then he's pushed off a bridge in a spot that Tom Hanks had a photo of a glove at. That seemed like a hit. But he was exposing all of Hollywood.
Tom Hanks took a photo of a glove here. It's pretty sus.
It was the most expensive currency. Well, this paperwork supposedly that was on this USB drive shows all these kids, where they were from, how productive they were they suicidal? If they were suicidal, they had to ramp up production, which ramp up production means torturing them. They lived for about 9 months to 2 years, and then they disposed of them. And that there was even an internal memo that said the disposal site number 6 has to be better than it is, because you can start to see it from Google Map, and a fence isn't going to do it, so someone needs to take care of that. And all this paperwork is in there. It was documented, hundreds and hundreds of documents.
Weird that never surfaced then. It's almost like that guy just made up a weird story about finding a USB drive with clear evidence on it that he apparently never produced for anyone else. That's kind of weird, huh? Reminds me a little bit of the Joseph Smith thing. Ooh, the golden plates, they're in the hat, but you can't see them.
It was all on typewriter. So it was harder to figure out where it was coming from. And it was a corporation. And apparently it had locations where they were operating at and names of children of each state that they were going to take.
When I'm a secret evil organization that's literally so cartoonishly evil that they torture children to make their products, I usually put all the damning evidence all on one flash drive. That's usually a good move. Someone said compartmentalization is a good thing, and I say no. Put it all on black. If anyone finds this USB, we're all screwed. Someone called Tom Hanks. He needs to take a picture of a glove.
This is a story I heard back last I heard this story. And then I saw the story again. And then I found the documents. And I downloaded them. And I'll tell you right now, it's a
all right, let's look at these bullshit documents that this person photoshopped. CYM, Caring Group. Caring is youth. Youth is money. Money is freedom. If this were like a prop for a movie, I'd be like, all right, guys, tone it down. The cartoonishly evil people can't be this cartoonishly evil. That their motto is youth is money and money is freedom. That's nice. They put the chemical formula for adrenochrome just on the front page. So you definitely know what this is about. RE, other research and experimental development on natural sciences and engineering. Sir, please find enclosed our confidential new detainee and production reports as follows. Rep number 1, production of raw adrenochrome per detention center with average age of detainees. Rep 2, list of detainees used for production, duration of custody, and scheduled disposal date, a valuable source for quality research. Note that Cole, SUIC, only states suicide attempts. A finished suicide would appear in the disposal report, not enclosed. So let's see. 100 milligrams are $1,920 per milligram. See, that's so cheap. It would take so long to, like, kidnap children and, like, torture them for 9 months or 2 years, and then you're only going to charge $2,000 per milligram of your A to A plus grade adrenochrome? I feel like they're probably cutting this adrenochrome with something. This is not high quality adrenochrome, okay? It's starting to rain.
Scariest thing I've ever seen.
Please note, check or cash in advance. Checks made payable to the to the CYM Corp. So you can write a personal check for this. It's not, you don't buy it in Bitcoin or anything that would make sense for a secretive underground drug. You write a personal check. Or money order. So that's good. What about, do you accept travel checks? Just curious.
Scene. It's unbelievable. If somebody is live role playing with this or making it up,
it's that one. It's made up.
There's no way they could make this up.
Why? Why do you think they couldn't make this up? It's so clearly made up. What about this rings anything other than false to you?
There is no way they can make up this many documents. Again, I have downloaded it. I have it. I have found it.
Okay? Someone made it up. People make up weird shit to support their conspiracy theories online and to troll people like you. You fell for the bait. Congratulations.
And it is the scariest thing. They sell this stuff for...
I have the government documents. This guy wishes he could be as good as Neil Breen at hacking into government systems, okay? For the record, no one will ever be as good as, Neil Breen, okay? I just happen to have this sitting next to me.
Like $1,900 a milligram. A milligram. Minimum you have to buy 100 milligrams. That's almost $200,000.
Well, then they should probably list the price at 100 milligrams. It wouldn't really make sense. If you gotta buy 100 anyway, why are you selling it and pricing it at the milligram when you need at minimum 100? That doesn't make sense.
I mean, again, you can't make this stuff up. This is stuff we've known for 1,000 years. They've been talking about drinking blood.
Yeah, it was called blood libel. It was also a ridiculous conspiracy theory then. And it was an anti-Semitic conspiracy theory that basically said Jewish people drink the blood of children. Not true, obviously. This is all bullshit that gets made up by people who hate other groups of people to try and demonize them in the worst way possible.
But this is coming out. Why is this coming out now?
Because you're being manipulated by people online into believing cult mentality bullshit.
Why with Jeffrey Epstein was this stuff starting to come out?
That would be thinly veiled anti-Semitism on the bingo card, yes.
Again, it sounds crazy. It sounds like a conspiracy theory, but again,
it is.
Again, I downloaded them.
I downloaded documents, and no one puts fake things on the internet. One time, I downloaded a paper that said, the sky is green, actually, all the time. And that's how I know the sky is never blue. The internet wouldn't lie to me. What would they stand to gain?
I have them. 100, it's scary. It's scary stuff, what's going on. But people need to open their eyes and realize that there's so much more going on than we even know. This is way longer than I wanted it to be. But please, do your research. Research some of the things I've mentioned. Open your eyes, because this is where we're at right now. A couple years ago, I was talking about the Great Reset and Agenda 21 and the New World Order. And
how'd that all work out for you?
But it was dismissing it. But you're now seeing this in mainstream. Time just had an article on the Great Reset. They're talking about Agenda 21. The Justin Trudeau talked about it just a few months ago. It's here. It's live. It's now. If we don't wake up, we already proved that they could do whatever they want to us. They scared us. We put on masks. We stayed in our homes. We did everything that they wanted. Here now. Your eyes are useless if your mind is blind. Anyways, my name is Zach. Please like, share, subscribe, share it. Please do your own research. That's all I'm saying. Don't take my word for it. Go do your own research. Anyways, thanks.
God damn, that guy's gullible. It's a shame. I hope he comes back to reality at some point, but I kinda doubt it. Let's do bits messages, and we'll take a look at the bingo sheet again. Someone already won earlier, but we still do it for fun. Aliens. I'll say ancient wisdom for the adrenochrome drinking blood thing. Thinly veiled anti-Semitism. My research said by not a researcher. Bits messages. Melted Snowcaps, thanks for subscribing for 2 months. Shihaku Jin with 100 bits says, hi Hannah, not gonna lie, seeing Tinfoil had me questioning whether I'd been signing the wrong date on docs wrong all day. I think I already read that one, but that's still kind of funny. Midori Ogden, thank you for resubscribing for 4 months. RTK142 says, the White House is also shorthand for the executive branch in general. Shihaku Jin says, look at me, I'm the stream boss now. Tucker White 94 says, does this count as doesn't understand how cameras work? I don't think so. RTK142 says, we all remember how Washington flew from Mount Vernon to New York. Antipodian Squid says, you mean 5 seconds of Google is too difficult for these people? RTK142 says, what pins does he expect the military to be wearing? I don't know. I don't know what he would think. Probably those things that are like right here, but I don't know any military things. I have no idea what those things are supposed to signify. Logarth with 20 bits says, they had to spend the first week of the Biden presidency putting out cheese plates to try to coax Eric out of the ventilation system. RTK142 says, he's never paid attention to the White House because this is the first time someone has kept his favorite president out of office. Antipodian Squid says, alright, I'm out again. My visit was very brief this morning, but I have a breakfast date. I'll see you beautiful people later. Pyromancer with 20 bits says, everyone knows you need internet gas to use a computer. Logarth says, also, as a furry, I'd like to clarify that the two furries holding the Trump flag on the HBO QAnon special stole that flag, posed with it, then destroyed it, but that pic gets cherry-picked because they posed with it like haha F Trump, but it looks like they're supporters. Good to know. Thank you. Stonecore Bell with 20 bits says, the CIA has this massive control over all technology, but they can't fix it, so there's like, on the president's YouTube channel, reflect him favorably. Daddy Sume with the link to a cruise thing. Yeah, it was Ted Cruz. Someone took a picture with him with a thing that says, Texas deserves better than Ted Cruz. It's kind of funny. Krizia with a link to AP that I missed. Sorry about that. RTK142 says, yeah, and how's that swamp? Andrew Batella with 20 bits says, the problem with collecting lots and lots of data is that analyzing it is hard. You can throw as much AI as you want at it, but you won't find connections you're looking for until you know what exactly to look for. That's why data collection and AI hasn't stopped any gun shooter or terrorist. Yeah, it's a signal to noise ratio problem. You have so much noise, you can't learn anything in it. Tiger White says, no, Trump effing didn't. Our infrastructure is still crumbling. Our healthcare is still an expensive mess. The wall is just a few miles that for some reason cost billions of dollars. He didn't do shit. RTK142 says, can't make this stuff up, yet someone did. Tucker White says, wake up, sheeple. Can't you see the strings attached to his suit? He's a marionette, and Kamala Harris is a puppet master. Tucker White says, actually, scratch that. The true puppet master is the American government is Elvis. RTK142 says, man, and I just bought a USB from Amazon too. And nada. What a shame. Bardlock Moses says, once you start filming in your car, you lose all credibility. Argonian Bum, thanks for gifting a sub to Tubi. Tucker White says, but Hannah, lab-grown adrenochrome isn't as fun as getting it from children. And, okay, I've lost the plot. What does Tom Hanks have to do with the mining children for adrenochrome? QAnon people and the like think that Tom Hanks, believes that Tom Hanks is in on it at some high level. And Tom Hanks, takes, like, weird Instagram pictures where whenever he walks around, wherever he happens to be, whether it's LA or his place, and I think he has a place in Italy. I don't know. Either way, he'll walk around and he'll see like a shoe or a glove that's left somewhere, and he likes to take pictures of those things and post them. I don't know why. I guess he just finds it interesting when you find objects on the street. Like, he's allowed to have peculiarities. He's also really into typewriters, and they've taken it to be like some sort of code messages. Like, oh, when he sends this picture of a glove, it's a secret message from the cabal or some shit. I just bumped my leg. My knee hurts. Ow. Belsthar says, hey Hannah, what does it say over the first arrow in that reaction? Because of its AG, that's the synthetic, not in vitro route. What does it say over the first arrow in that reaction? Oh, from the adrenochrome thing? I missed it. I'm sorry. Be very careful, John, with 100 bits says, yeah, but where's the fun in getting your adrenochrome from some stuffy lab nerd? Rudlum says, Umbrella Corp isn't as cartoonishly evil and they make zombie dogs. Bardlock Moses says, he's an effing idiot. Overthought says, got to send in my cute kitten checks to get their kitty torture juice. Cotton Candy says, this man is so gullible. Creeping Darkness says, I bought a pamphlet that said I could be a rising palm kung fu master from a homeless guy. I'm a deadly force now. Pyromancer says, I saw that paper the other day, and these guys are harvesting xenothium from kittens. Stromboli for Wi-Fi says, Colorado shooting witness has Looney Tunes logic. Oh, God. Can you fix that link? It didn't hyperlink correctly. Like, you gotta put a space between the period after logic and the link. Thank you.
reported by customers that there was active shooting outside in our parking lot. I didn't do the smartest thing. I ran outside, saw shooting, ran back inside. There was shooting inside the building as well. I immediately knew my life was at threat and called 911 immediately. I was one of the first to call within the store. My coworker of mine with me at the time in Starbucks, her name's Helen. She's, I believe, 69, and I knew I had to get her to safety before anything. She's my elder. I must protect her. And so I nicely shoved her into a corner, put trash cans over her, and then
he seems like a nice young man.
I'm like 6'3", 6'4", hard to hide me, so I just found a trash can, hid behind it. Shooting went on for another 15 minutes. There was probably 30 bullets, 30 rounds shot throughout the store. It finally died down. For the last 10 minutes, there was no more shooting. I didn't know if there was 1 or 2 people in the building with guns, but the assailant got about 13 feet away from me outside of the Starbucks kiosk. Had no idea I was there, thankfully. Had no idea my coworker was there.
Wow. Scary. Good for him, though. That's nice that he thought of other people before himself and wanted to raise the chances of a coworker surviving, even if he couldn't hide himself, so that's nice. Glad he's okay. Very sad for the people who were harmed. I don't even know if this is a conspiracy guy, but he's definitely a weird chud type.
Talking about it.
He's also, like, obsessed with wearing military stuff constantly, which I find a little bit funny.
And I just really want to get to the point of it because it really disgusts and disturbs me. It kind of started this week when I saw this article written by Evelyn Ray over at Cauldron Pool of a show where a man with a penis is the main character in the show. That is like...
John Dillerman. Hold on. John Dillerman is a Danish stop-motion animated children's television show about a man and his very long penis. It premiered on January 3rd. No. No way. What the hell?
Goddag, det er John Dillermand. John Dillermand. Han er verdens længste dillermand. Der er næsten ikke noget, han ikke kan med det. Han kan svinge den rundt, han kan blive lidt flov. Han kan redde hele verden, hvis han bare fik lov. John Dillermand, John Dillermand, John Dillermand. John Dillermand, John Dillermand, John Dillermand. Goddag.
This is about a man with a large penis.
Like the main reason this show is made.
Surely this is not real, you might be saying. Oh, I guarantee you it is real. And one of the worst parts about this whole thing is the fact that child psychologists and professionals work with the writers of that show to say it's perfectly fine for 4 to 8-year-olds to view a show about a man with a giant penis who can't control it and steals ice cream off children, shoots it, wraps around Christmas trees and hands kids presents with it. That's perfectly fine viewing, according to professionals.
Yeah, I find this questionable. This is not a show I would greenlight, let me put it that way.
John.
Let me put it, okay, I'll put it a different way. If this were an Adult Swim show for adults, it would probably be fine. But as a children's show, yeah.
Dillermand, John Dillermand. Han er verdens længste dillermand. Der er næsten ikke noget, han ikke kan med det. Han kan svinge den rundt, han kan blive lidt flov, han kan redde.
Like, they could have just done a show where he's got, like, stretchy arms or something. Or, like, he's got a long ponytail in the hair. Like, why does it gotta be his dick?
Hvis han bare fik lov, John Dillermand. John Dillermand, John Dillermand. John Dillermand, John Dillermand, John Dillermand.
Now, one would say that would be concerning, at the least. And I definitely, if I had children, would not want them to watch that, for obvious reasons. But I think it not just this specifically, but there are other way more, even worse depraved things about a society that we do not actually even really think about in a lot of ways because it's so subliminal. Now, you can say, oh, well, it's not that big of a deal, you know, this is one thing you can get your children not to watch. Well, you see, there's plenty of other sexually depraved things, not to mention that almost every Disney show, especially the younger kids in them, are almost dressed in the most sexual revealing clothes ever, and
I haven't seen a Disney show lately, but I don't think that's true.
I don't want to put that in this video because I don't want to get marked by YouTube, but if you really want to see for yourself, go ahead. But not to mention just that kind of stuff, but the fact that there was a show called, a movie called Cuties that was up on Netflix that, last I checked, is basically getting a lawsuit from Texas, as I remember, but for, you know, obvious reasons, as you can see. And then also, not to mention how depraved everything else is besides, you know, movies and TV shows. Obviously music, you know, somehow WAP is okay for children to listen to. One thing I really found
Wait,
shocking.
WAP is not a song for children. What are you talking about?
Was my boss was telling me about how his nephew, who is about 10 years old, knew the lyrics to WAP.
That sounds like a parenting problem then, if you don't want your kids to know the... Can there be a Kids Bop version of WAP, but they change all the words so it has nothing to do with the original content?
Really not okay. I mean, obviously he wasn't okay with it. He was shocked by it, but I'm just saying that this is stuff that's being exposed to our children, and I think we should be at some level concerned about what this will lead to. And also, it's really strange to me how our society has basically come to now. It's okay to watch...
I just want to point out that the book he has in the background is about Rommel. Rommel was a German general during World War II. So, I don't mean to imply that he put that there on purpose to signal to other people his political beliefs, but that's literally what I'm saying. I think he's probably a neo-Nazi.
Watch, you know, sexualized children on TV, and see that as normal, or watch movies about children being sexualized and all this kind of stuff. And it's not okay to read Dr. Seuss, or, you know, watch...
No one said it's not okay to read Dr. Seuss, you dumb asshole.
Watch certain comedy bits on Netflix because they got banned, or watching some things because they're supposedly racially insensitive, which, fine, but there is much worse stuff happening related to sexual depravity in a society than people being outright racist. And both are bad, but sexual depravity is, in my opinion, way worse because it, you know, directly affects children and their mental health growing up, and I think we should all be a little bit worried about that.
It's Alpha and Omega.
Jesus Christ. Yeah, this guy's chud. Like, his most recent videos are both about degenerates. Degenerates! Great.
Oh my gosh, are these rolls? Are these rolls?
Put the rolls in my mouth. Put the rolls in my mouth. Put the
I said, you know I like to eat 11 days a week. Wings and pizza, stuff that crust with extra cheese. Yeah, we feasting on some wings and pizza.
Fine.
All right, guys, so we have
Kids Pop writing WAP. Okay.
there's some doors in this house, eating s'mores in this house, walk on floors in this house. Kids are widely known for walking on floors. What do you guys have for me? Clean my pores in my...
What's the Dr. Seuss thing about? The company that publishes Dr. Seuss decided to stop publishing 6 of their lesser-known books, like McGilligan's Pool and a couple other ones, because they weren't selling well, and also because they had some pretty racist depictions in them. Like, one of them literally had, like, minstrel show-esque, pot-belly, grass skirt, top-knot, big-lipped depictions of, quote, Africans. Stuff like that. And Chuds basically got mad and acted like people were trying to cancel Dr. Seuss when it was a decision entirely made by the company that publishes Dr. Seuss of their own volition.
My house? That's way more of a teen problem, and that's not really our market. What else? I said certified geek, 5 days a week, write all papers, make that movie game week. All right, we're on track with that. All right, people, pay attention. These are the ideas I'm asking for. Pussy, mushy. Walk all puppies, water all plants, we're all people, we all poop. Oh my God, you could have worked at Sony fucking Records. It's fine. I mean, we could just get a cat wet and then that be the video. Then we could just keep it. Just figure it out, people. Figure it out. Is ass really that bad of a word now?
Alright, that was pretty funny.
I'm so hungry, I can't stop. Bring that wings and pizza. Give me all the ranch you got for that wings and pizza. Pizza Hut is a piece of art. Extra large clip.
I really want her hoodie, though. I have a very similar one, but I like that, like, tinfoily hoodie.
I wanna die. Cream for ice cream out in public. Make a scene. I got cook.
Okay. That's that. Let me do some bits messages and we'll move on. RTK142 says, I'm out for the night. Have a great whatever it is for you wherever you see this. Live long and prosper. Peace and long life. Thank you. I hope you have a good night. Pyromancer says, nothing like some Tacticool. MMO Addicted says, new favorite cartoon of the show. Bardlock Moses says, he's so sexually repressed. Daddy Sume says, worldly Anglican Protestants. Stromboli for Wi-Fi says, is it me or is Cuties the modern-day equivalent of a modest proposal? Be very careful, John with 100 bits says, European kids shows are incredible. I remember this show airing in the Netherlands when I was young, and then there was a link that I missed, sorry. Cotton Candy 903 says, if you don't think the media your kids are seeing is appropriate, maybe monitor what your kids are watching instead of blaming the media. Bardlock Moses says, he's going to shoot up and shopping mart within a year. And then Stone Corbell with the Kids Bop WAP thing. Let me see if I can find that link from earlier. I don't know if I can, because this is their actual YouTube channel. Ugh. I don't like this. I don't like the animation. Shadow Witch says, hi Hannah, love you, still here. Well, I'm glad you're here. What can we do next?
Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, wherever you may be. It's August 9th, 2018.
Man kunne jo også få job på en
And,
pølsefabrik.
well,
Men det synes John altså var en virkelig
had
dårlig
some
idé.
family.
Hold on, here's a clip from that show. What?
Man kunne jo også få job på en pølsefabrik.
Nej, tak.
Men det synes John altså var en virkelig dårlig idé. For kan du gætte, hvad der skete?
Nej, dealer, det vil
Oh,
vi
his
ikke.
penis gets turned into sausage.
Vi dealer.
John fik selvfølgelig dealeren lige i pølsemaskinen. Men heldigvis var der en pølsemand, der fik slukket for maskinen i tide. John gik trist hjemad.
That's horrifying.
Issues. One of my family members was rushed to the hospital on emergency surgery. Turns out it was her gallbladder. Now, this all could have been avoided about a year and a half ago when she first complained to her doctor, that's the white coat of truth that we all believe, about abdominal pains down here, you know? Of course, the doctor said nothing but, oh, you know, it's just gas. Don't worry about it. So that white coat of truth diagnosed it wrong, because it turned out her gallbladder was infected and it was affecting her.
Yeah, no one's ever said doctors are infallible. There's a reason that doctors have malpractice insurance.
This all could have been avoided. She's 80 years old. Does she need this kind of fucking stress with these doctors? You know, it really pisses me off that these doctors just think they know everything.
They're doing their best, I would imagine. I recognize that doctors are human beings, and when they're diagnosing someone, they're a lot of the time probably genuinely doing their best, but there's only so much you can do with limited information. I do know that there's a problem with sometimes, especially in regard to, like, women going to the doctor, having their concerns basically blown off. So that is a real issue that happens. But not every time that a doctor gets it wrong is it necessarily due to their own fault. Sometimes things are just not easily diagnosable.
Anyway, she's all right. She's out of the hospital. She just got out today. She was released this morning, so she did have some complications with a fever and something like that, but it's fine. So that worry's over. You know, between moving, her, and Flat Earth, my head just wasn't into making videos, you know. I hate taking breaks, I really do, but it has to be done to keep your sanity, in a way. Am I right? You know? Anyway, I'm down in the city right now at work, right off of Fort Washington Avenue, and it's right by the river over here. If you notice, I must have, well, you'll hear them go by, but I must have heard like 50 helicopters pass by since I've been sitting here. That's a lot of helicopters, and you know how annoying those things are? I mean, they make so much noise, it's unbelievable. How do people tolerate that nonsense? You know, between helicopters, leaf blowers that are happening 24/7, it's almost like they want to create noise to frustrate us, you know, to keep us, I don't know, aggravated in a way. Maybe I could.
If you don't like noise pollution, why are you living in New York? Like, relatively close to New York City. You're, like, adjacent to it based on the way you've talked before. I don't know exactly where you live, but...
Could be wrong. Maybe I'm looking too much into it. But, you know, I remember a time when you could hear a pin drop in my neighborhood. Now, the minute 8 o'clock, it's blast-off time, leaf blower time. So, you make sense out of that. It's just within the last 15 years I've noticed. You know, if you are a flat earther and you're watching this and you've been doing it as long as me, and it's been 3 or 4 years for you right now, and you're still uncovering truths, you know, layers and layers and layers upon lies. And if you're making videos, don't get discouraged about people that are taking your videos and chopping them up and putting them on their channel and trying to make us look like fools.
It's not that much of an attempt. It's pretty easy. You just put it, and people basically see it. It's fine.
Because there'll be a day And that day will come soon, where they're going to need us. And they're going to want to talk to us because they're going to be so fucking confused because they still think they live on a ball. When we know we live on a flat plane. We're the smartest people in the world knowing this information.
Honestly, even if it did turn out the world was flat tomorrow, the last flat earther I'd be going to is CC.
This piece of the puzzle that has been a lie throughout in our entire lives. You know? I spent close to 40 years thinking we lived on a ball. But then a light bulb went off and I became the smartest person in the world, just like you are for being here and watching me and listening to what I have to say.
Hi, Peach.
Well, anyway, that's that with the family member. Pray for her. She's all right. She really gave us a scare. You know, I mean, to be that age and to have to go through that with your body. And surgery, I realize a gallbladder surgery is really want to talk to you about the space shuttle. And I was on somebody's channel the other day watching this, and he had a lot of interesting things to say, and I'm going to share it with you right now. I believe his channel is UAP, and he's got plenty of subs, so, you know, just look for it. It's called the Space Shuttle Hoax, just in case if I screwed his channel name up.
Okay, CC's being very boring today, so I'm good. What else could we watch? Okay, I don't know. I feel mean almost harping on this guy because he's always so positive, but I'm conflicted because the thing he's positive about is a military coup destroying democracy. Now, that's not going to happen, so it's fine. I'm not worried about it happening because it's not going to. But the fact that he's so excited to end democracy in his little fantasy, it's kind of sad. So this fine gentleman here is Peter. Peter does Peter's Positive Political Perspective. Oh, we're close to a hype train. One more person needs to gift a sub or use bits, and then we get in a hype train. I don't know if you guys got that notification, but I did. That's kind of neat. Anyway, Peter is a believer in the online conspiracy theory that is Q. There's a documentary on HBO about QAnon right now. It's pretty entertaining if you need some background on that. I've talked about it plenty on here. But Peter basically thinks that Trump is still in control of the military. Another thing he'll tend to do is give arbitrary percentages to what he thinks the chances are that Trump will retake the presidency on certain dates, or that certain military action will take place on certain dates. And I've always joked about this when we watch him, because he basically pulls numbers out of his butt. But in this video, he actually goes through his methodology and explains how he comes up with his confidence levels for different things. So I'm interested to hear exactly what he thinks he's doing to try and give credence to the numbers. Let's check it out. We are on a hype train. We just completed level 1, so I'll put on some more tinfoil stuff. Again, with every level of the hype train, I put on more tinfoil. So, do it up. I'll get to bit messages and stuff a little later, so we can watch this video.
So I've been getting a lot of questions about why certain people are credible, or why they're not credible, or why certain statements are credible or not credible. So I designed a credibility calculator, because this is becoming a big issue in this hopeful movement that Trump will be president soon, to detect, in my opinion, which individuals are credible and why they're credible, and which statements are credible as well and why they're credible. So on this list, I'm going to go through the credibility of Donald Trump, General Flynn, me, Juan Osaman, Charlie Ward, and Simon Parks, based on a calculator, based on numbers, how credible these individuals are.
I feel like it's cheating to decide if you are credible or not, right? Because how do I know if you're credible, and telling me you're credible just seems weird. Level 2 complete.
Included myself, and I'm going to use this calculator to find the credibility of the 3 main statements I say on this channel, which is that Trump commands the military, that military will make Trump president soon, and that a great awakening is happening right now.
Also no.
My name is Peter Hanna. This is Peter's Political Perspective. Click on the description button on the bottom right corner of the screen so you can stay updated on when my videos get posted, and you can be uplifted with hopeful news. Now I got past the intro.
Again, that hopeful news is that the military's going to destroy 200 plus years of American democracy over Donald Trump. Ew.
Let me show you my new credibility calculator. Now you will know exactly why I find certain people and statements to be credible. I break it down percentage point by percentage point from a completely logical perspective. This is why I trust certain people and why I don't trust certain people. And this is why I trust certain statements. Now you will know exactly what I am thinking.
This is a hell of a hype train so far. We already just completed level 4. Dang, you people must have gotten your stimulus checks or something. Thank you, I really appreciate it.
All right, everyone, here we go.
Oh, you made a document in Open Office, not even Microsoft Word. I appreciate that. Don't waste money on Microsoft. Just get Open Office.
This is the calculator I created, and just for definition's sake, I have two calculators. I have one for person credibility, another one for statement credibility. And when it comes to person credibility, what I'm referring to is morally righteous and pursuing the truth, trustworthy, and good. In statement credibility, I'm focused on factually accurate. So when it comes to my person credibility,
doesn't credibility mean factually accurate? Like, I don't care how good your intentions are if you're wrong constantly. Ooh, did we just hit level 5? We just hit level 5. Gosh dang. Thank you, everyone. That was the quickest we've gotten to a hype train in quite a while.
Credibility calculator, I'm just trying to calculate if someone is trustworthy. Not if they're right every single time they say something, but whether they're trustworthy, whether they're honest, whether they're good individuals. So, in my person credibility calculator, I have two things that can boost someone's credibility. First is a positive history of credibility. Second is an endorsement from a highly credible person. When it comes to losing credibility, I feel like negative history of credibility, like getting facts or dates wrong.
So you should have no credibility because you've mentioned multiple dates and you've been wrong every time, right?
Can affect your credibility. It can, not always, but it can.
Gets facts or dates wrong. Remember that. Gets facts or dates wrong is the exact wording.
Immoral income, like selling fake products, that affects your credibility. That makes me trust you less. And associating with low credibility individuals. So if you're associating with sketchy people, my trust in you is going to go down because I think
you're associating with Donald Trump.
You're just not a moral purchase. As I say moral purchase, a morally righteous individuals. That's what I meant. So then there's my statement credibility calculator. And this, if the statement, these are the type of things that would make a statement more accurate. If the statement is corroborated by events or facts, then it's pretty likely to be accurate. If it's corroborated, this is a corroborated statement by someone that's highly credible, that also adds to the credibility of a...
Wouldn't the credibility of a statement be entirely based on whether or not it stands up to being corroborated by facts and events? Like, that's the definition of something being a credible statement, is it's backed up by events or facts, right?
A statement to being accurate. And if it's a very logical statement, that also, in my opinion, adds to the credibility that that statement is actually factually true.
That's not necessarily true. You could have statements that follow logically without the premises of each of the points necessarily being true, right? You can have false premises that make something logical but not necessarily corroborated by reality.
Now, if the statement can lose credibility in three ways. If it's contradicted by facts or events, then it's less likely to be true. If it's
then it's just not true. If it's contradicted by facts.
contradicted by someone that's highly credible. Ooh, did I say someone's? By someone or people they're highly credible. If the statement is contradicted by people that are highly credible, it's not likely to be true. And an illogical statement, if it's illogical, is not likely to be very true. So let's start out with some statements, and now you'll understand why I believe certain statements. The statement, Trump commands the military. Why do I believe that? I'll tell you why.
That's a good question, because you've given multiple answers for that, and some of them have already been proven wrong, and you've admitted as such. Oh, hey, kitty.
This is corroborated by military actions. I think this gives it a ton of credibility. In this case, 70% of the credibility on that statement comes from the fact that the military actions have been complete alignment with Trump's military agenda. That backs, and that adds a ton of credibility to the statement that Trump...
Again, no it doesn't though. You're speculating. Like, if I had to ask him to define what he thinks Trump's military goals are, I guarantee it would be something as simple as fighting bad guys, being good guys. Like, that's not military foreign policy. That's like a 5-year-old's understanding of how the military works. So just because Biden did a strike that you like, all of a sudden you're attributing it to Trump. It's ridiculous.
Commands the military. Because if Biden commanded the military, then the military would be doing stuff that's for Biden's agenda. But they've been doing stuff for Trump's agenda the entire time.
No, they haven't. No, they haven't.
This statement that Trump commands the military has been corroborated by 107, me, and other groups of individuals. I think that adds 10% more credibility to the statement.
I like that he just, like, even though he calls this a calculator, it's just, like, vague criteria, and then he'll still randomly add percentage points. Like, Peter, how are you getting to the percentage points? Why did you determine that it being corroborated by 107 equals 10% boost in credibility? How did you get the 70% for the corroborated by military actions? How are you determining that the military actions corroborate your belief? Like, this is a way of a conspiratorial person to try and make their emotional pleadings, to try and make their magical thinking appear to be objective, when in fact it is not. All they've done is take their highly subjective conspiratorial thinking and applied random numbers to them to make it look like there's something more credible going on, when it's not. It's actually really fascinating.
And also it's extremely logical that Trump would command the military because he's trying to save the world, and strategically speaking, he would have to legally control the military to save the world. So, and the fact that the military swore an oath to protect the Constitution, in my opinion, it makes perfect logical sense that they would follow whoever is protecting the Constitution, because they didn't swear an oath to be controlled by Biden.
Okay, so let's be clear here. First of all, they didn't swear an oath to Trump either. They swore an oath to the Constitution, so it's interesting to me that you think that automatically means Trump. But your logical premise here appears to be, at least based on what you said... Sorry, there's a kitty right here. She's probably going to hit buttons and stuff. Basically, he says, Donald Trump needs to save the world. In order to save the world, Donald Trump would have to be in control of the military. Therefore, Trump is in control of the military because he needs to save the world. This is logical in the sense that it is circular logic, but circular logic is anything but logical. It's just a circular argument. It's not real. That's the opposite of being logical. You're bootstrapping your own argument, is my point.
So logically speaking, it makes a lot of sense that Trump commands the military. So this has 20% credibility. As a result, the statement of Trump commands the military is 100% credible.
Need to clean your butt, kitty.
In my opinion, 100% credible. The statement, the military will make Trump president soon. This is corroborated by military actions that they are following Trump's agenda.
Again, your premise is flawed because you're claiming that military action, which is done by Biden, somehow supports the idea that Donald Trump is in office, which you have not evidenced. It's your feeling that it is that.
This is true. The military has been doing a lot of things. Basically, every single big military action has been in complete alignment with Trump's agenda. Like I said earlier, this adds 30% credibility to the fact that I strongly think that Trump commands the military. I mean, I practically know it. I'm very confident in it. This statement.
What do you mean you practically know it? Like, that doesn't mean anything without backing that statement up with evidence. All you are saying is, I feel very strongly that this thing is true, and all you're backing evidence is just conspiracy theory.
Has been corroborated by Juan O'Sullivan, General Flynn, and me. This adds 30% more credibility to it. Also, it's an extremely logical statement.
Did he just use himself to boost the credibility of that statement? Well, I said it, therefore, it's more credible. That's not how this works. You can't use your own purported, self-purported at that, credibility lead you to believe that when you say something, it's more likely to be true just because you said it and you self-define as credible. That's absurd.
That he would be president, the military would make him president because the only way he can save planet Earth is to become president. And since I 100% believe the military can make him president and he needs to be president to save Earth, then of course the military is going to make Trump president. I mean, legally they can do it.
No, legally they cannot. That would be very, very illegal if they chose to try and do that. It's weird to me when he tries to claim something like a military coup is legal, which makes me think he knows absolutely nothing about the Constitution at all, or how, like, the chain of command works. Like, if the president, like, let's say Biden did get arrested for something legitimate, like, Trump doesn't become the president all of a sudden. That's not how any of this works. Lupine decided to go stare at the window. She's still right here. She's just looking outside.
Legally, they're taking orders from Trump, and legally, he needs to be president to save the world. So it's an extremely logical statement to say that the military will make Trump president soon.
Wrong.
So the main reason I believe the military will make Trump president soon is because it's very logical. It's very logical.
It's logical because I say it's logical, and it's logical because if it's not logical, then I'll be wrong, and I can't be wrong because Trump needs to save the world, because if he doesn't, then we all die, and it's logical. Okay? How hard is this to understand? This is word salad, I would argue, on the bingo card, too.
That's why I add 39% credibility to that. As a result, the statement that the military will make Trump president soon is 99% credible from my perspective.
Okay, the fact that you give that a 99% credibility rating means your personal credibility rating is 0. You have no credibility, Peter. Oopsie, I didn't mean to click on that.
Perspective. I will be shocked if I was wrong, but
this is going to be Peter's face. Literally every moment of every day for the rest of his life.
It's 99% credible in my opinion. Like, almost 100% sure that the military will make Trump president soon. Now, the statement, the Great Awakening is happening right now. I think many people believe this. This is corroborated by the Bible, Trump, Flynn, and many others. You know, the talk about the apocalypse, which is apocalypse. We are in the end days, or apocalypse, or whatever, what you want to call it.
Again, that's a statement that would require an absurd amount of evidence because it is a pretty big claim. People have been claiming we're in the end days since the beginning days of humanity. Humans are we tend to catastrophize, let me put it that way. That's something I know a lot about. People have been saying it's the end of the world since the beginning of humanity. and we've been fine so far. So maybe chill.
Apocalypse and End Days is all about the Great Awakening, all about waking up to the truth and everyone learning the truth. So there's a lot of credibility added there, 40% credibility. This has been also corroborated by thousands of events. Thousands of things have happened that have woken up people, and that adds a ton of credibility.
Thousands of events. Which ones? You know, the one that there are thousands of.
50% credibility to the statement. And it's also a very logical statement if you look at everything that's happening and everything that's been said, and the fact that all the evidence is pointing to right now being the Great Awakening. So I add 10% credibility to that, and as a result...
It's interesting, too. It's an interesting look at Peter's, like, mind. Like, when he sees other people do actual statistical analysis, is this what he thinks they're doing? Does he think when he sees polls and different things that involve percentages and statistics, does he think someone's just sitting there in a Word document or an open office document, just like putting numbers next to them, and he's like, I can do that, not realizing that when people use percentages professionally, usually there's like actual thought behind it other than just, I think this feels right. So he like, it's like a cargo cult mentality. He knows that people who put percentages next to outcomes are respected and they're taken seriously, but he doesn't understand why. So therefore, if he does it, he will have more credibility. It's very interesting.
Result, the Great Awakening is happening right now is 100%
It's like when sovereign citizens adopt sort of the nomenclature or the jargon of the law, but they'll use it incorrectly and not really understand the jurisprudence behind it. But it gives the illusion of law. It's pseudo-law. This is a lot like that. He's taking on the aesthetic without any of the actual substance.
credible. Now, this is where it gets fun. I'm going to go into people and use the person credibility calculator to determine how credible certain individuals are. And obviously this is my opinion, but now you understand where my logic is coming from. First is me. I have a positive history credibility, so...
Wait a minute. Your criteria for personal credibility, the negative side is gets things wrong. Every prediction you've had in terms of dates has been wrong, Peter. So how in the world is your credibility at 100%?
My opinion, if I've been trustworthy and honest and upfront 100% of the time and accurate most of the time, then I'm 100% credible, in my opinion.
I don't know if you get to determine how credible you are in basically any context. Like, I wouldn't say to you guys, I'm very credible. Like, that's not for me to decide.
Have I got a few things wrong? Yes, I have. But I have admitted it. So this doesn't...
That wasn't in the thing earlier. It didn't say admits that they're wrong. It didn't say gets things wrong and never admits it. It just said gets things wrong and your credibility goes down. Which is basically, that's just true, right? Like, if I listen to... sometimes I'll watch, like, channels that talk about media or rumors that are about, like, movies and stuff coming out. Like, a lot of the time that stuff's bullshit, and I take that in stride and recognize that for what it is. I just find it entertaining. But, like, the credibility of someone who does rumors and stuff is entirely based on whether or not they are accurate. If someone comes out and they just spout nonsense, and they constantly and never get anything right in terms of rumors, even if they admit it, and every episode they're like, sorry guys, I was wrong about last week, every single week, they're not credible. They might be, that would be a different word, that might be more nice, that might be more kind of them to admit when they're wrong. It's more, what's the word I'm thinking of? Honest. But honesty doesn't necessarily mean credibility in this sense, right? Like, if a reporter gets a story wrong every single time they write a story, and they retract every story, I'm glad they retracted the story, but clearly their process is completely fuckered and they aren't credible if they're always wrong.
Subtract from my credibility, and as a result, I'm 100%
honorable is probably the word. Honorable or sincere. You can be honorable and sincere, have integrity, and also not have credibility. These are different concepts.
credible. In other words, if someone says a lot of things and they're mostly correct, and they may
that doesn't describe you, Peter. What have you gotten correct?
A few things.
Joe Biden won the election. Donald Trump is not the president. He's not in control of the military. He's off, fucked up. He fucked off to Florida. He's just there now. He's retired. He's done. It's over.
He's wrong, but they admitted it. That doesn't affect their credibility. In my opinion, based on my credibility calculator.
Okay,
next
this jacket's
Donald
already
Trump.
killing me. I gotta.
Someone asked in the comment section, why do you trust Donald Trump? He talks about vaccines being go get your shot and stuff like that. Well, I'll make my next video will be about vaccines, but Trump has an amazing history of credibility. So in my opinion, this 90% of the credibility that I gave him comes straight from his amazing history of credibility. He promised a lot, that he would drain the swamp and do a lot of things, and he did almost every single thing.
But you talk about the swamp and the deep state constantly. So I guess he did a shitty job, huh? The wall isn't built, Hillary isn't in prison. What did Trump say he was going to do that he did? He didn't get anything done that couldn't be undone immediately via executive order. He sucks.
Promise. And he has said so much truth, so he's extremely credible based on his history. Also, hundreds of endorsements from highly credible people. So many people endorse Trump. So many good people endorse Trump. So in my opinion, that...
Like Mike Pillow.
Has 10% credibility, and as a result, Trump is 100%... Ooh. Trump is 100% credible. 100% credible. And what that means is we can trust him. Not that he will be right every single time, but it means we can trust him. He's a good, honest man. General Flynn, great history of credibility. In my opinion, this gives him 50% credibility. You just look at his past, he's extremely honest, trustworthy individual. And he's endorsed by Trump. He's working on Team Trump. He has clearance to the Pentagon, which is controlled by Trump. This also gives him 50% credibility, in my opinion.
Again, he's just arbitrarily assigning percentages to his feelings.
So General Flynn has 100%, he's 100% credible as being an honest, trustworthy, good human being. Next is Juan O'Sullivan. Juan O'Sullivan has been endorsed by many of my viewers, and as a result, I give him 30% credibility because I really put a lot of weight to the intelligence of my viewers. My viewers are very intelligent, and if they trust Juan O'Sullivan, then I do to a certain extent too. I give him 30% credibility for that. He has a relatively positive...
Prismatic Fairy, thanks for coming to the stream. I appreciate it.
...history of credibility, and for that reason, I give him 70% credibility. He said a lot of things, and it's all...
Flynn has literally been convicted of lying to the FBI. I know.
A lot of that stuff has turned out to be true. Now, he did get one or two things wrong. He was wrong on March 4th, but he didn't put much weight behind it. He said that there's some type of inaugural event. He saw a paper about some inaugural event happening on March 4th and March 6th. Now, nothing happened, but he didn't put a lot of weight behind it. He didn't say, like, oh, something's going to happen on March 4th. He's like, I just saw a paper about an inaugural event on March 4th. I'm not sure if something's going to happen. I just saw a paper about it. Who knows? So since he didn't have a lot of weight behind that, I'm only taking away 5% of his credibility because he got this statement wrong, and in my opinion, he has not admitted that that statement was wrong or that he got it wrong. And until he admits it, it's going to hit his credibility, in my opinion. Also, he said that Biden doesn't have access to Air Force One. I'm not sure what his statement, if he's talking about Air Force One, the call sign or the...
Thank you, mods. You just beat me.
Airplane, but I just saw a video recently. It looks like Biden is going into the big Air Force One airplane. If this is true, that affects his credibility. So as a result, he gets 10% less. I'm taking away 10% of his credibility. So he gets 10% less credibility. As a result, based on my research of 107 and the statements he's made and what turned out to be accurate, what turned out to be wrong, I would say 107 is 90% credible. And as a result, for me to talk about someone at this point and to say statements that they've made, they have to be at least 90% credible. If more statements that 107 has made end up being incorrect, I'm not going to use him as a source anymore. But right now, he is right on the line. He's credible enough that I am using him as a source of information. Now, a lot of people are not going to like what I'm going to get into now, but I'm here to tell the truth, and I apologize if I hurt your feelings, but I'm not here to make you happy. I'm here to tell you the truth, and a lot of the truths I've said have made you happy, but we have to analyze Charlie Ward's credibility here. 80% of...
I don't even know who Charlie Ward is. I'm going to skip ahead a little bit. I don't care about his credibility ratings that mean nothing anyway of specific people in the Q community.
.com or .org, whatever. Father-in-law is like, hey, check out Simon Parks. Simon Parks was a one. He's gotten dates and events percent Leslie, who has 30% shield. You understand my previous video is 100% it's effective at all, not testing against a placebo. So if Simon Parks, who's extremely intelligent, is endorsing a product that he says works, and he knows very well that it does not work at all, then he's a liar and he's a scammer. And I do not trust Simon Parks anymore. I'm sorry if that offends people. I'm doing what I believe is the right thing. And now you guys understand why I trusted Simon Parks. This is why I trusted him and why I don't trust him anymore.
Feelings.
So, this is my credibility calculator. I want to know what you guys think. I think at this point forth, you do understand where I'm coming from, why I trust certain people, why I don't trust other people. And I'm going to be using this credibility calculator in the, from now on for individuals and for statements, because I think it's very important to analyze who is trustworthy and how trustworthy and factual statements are, because there's a lot of drama right now in this hopeful movement that Trump will be president soon. A lot of drama about liars and scammers or people that are telling the truth, or what statement should we believe, or who's trustworthy. And they're just so...
Chat, calculate my credibility level. What's my credibility at?
So much data out there, and the reason I created this whole calculator was to sift through all that data and analyze people from this perspective so that I can come out with the most trustworthy individuals, the best sources, and come out with that most accurate data as possible. If you disagree with any of these statements, I would like to know.
I disagree with these statements.
Disagree with the calculator, I would like to know.
It's not a calculator, Peter. A calculator is something anyone could plug the same information into and get the same output. This is entirely subjective to your feelings, so it's not a calculator. It's at best a series of vague guidelines.
And things about the calculator you think could be proved on, I want to hear what you have to think about it. But I'm doing this for you guys because I want my channel to be the most accurate channel, period. And to do that, I need to take accuracy seriously. And the only way to take accuracy seriously is to really analyze it from a numerical value. And so that is what I'm doing. Hope you guys enjoy this. This is my credibility calculator.
Thank you so much for watching. I hope this explains what's going on in my mind, why I find certain people to be credible, why I find other people not to be so credible, and I hope this explains why I find the three main statements that I say in my channel to be accurate and truthful. I hope that you enjoyed this video, and I really appreciate all the subscriptions and all the sharing and all the likes and you guys supporting me, even though sometimes I say stuff that hurts certain people's feelings. I'm just here to provide the truth. That's my priority. And my highest priority is truth, and second priority is make money. So if sometimes I have to say something bad about like Simon Parks and I lose viewers by that, and I lose money because I lose viewers, I'm okay with that, because my priority on my YouTube channel is truth, and then is to make money. So it's okay if I lose a little bit of money by telling people the truth. I'm okay with that. So thank you for watching, everyone, and remember, everyone, Trump says, I'm supremely confident that our brightest days are just ahead. So let's be hopeful, happy, and excited for the future. Thank you, everyone.
Oh, Peter. I really hope Peter gets the help he needs at some point, because it just gets sadder every video, especially knowing he has kids. Ugh.
Well, hey there, folks, and welcome back. I guess. Here we are, over 100 episodes in, and we finally
Is he just riding on desperation money, or do I think he believes it? He believes it.
made it to the Japanese A5 Wagyu beef. This ribeye cost $200.
It honestly looks beautiful. I want to try it so bad.
I bought it on the internet. Come on out of here, you expensive piece of... This thing is marbled up to wazoo. And the website I got it from does sell ground Wagyu, but it was more expensive to do it this way.
Why would you... It feels a little weird to me to buy ground up Wagyu beef, because if you wanted just high fat content ground beef, you could make that yourself with beef and just adding fat content, or buying high fat content meat. Why would it need to be Wagyu? Why is it so expensive? Wagyu beef is a beef procured, let's say, from specific cows in Japan that are bred to have this pretty distinctive, what's the word? Marbling, where there's a lot of fat content sort of streaked throughout the muscle tissue itself, as opposed to, like, if you've seen a normal steak, there'll be sections with fat, but it's mostly just the red meat. Wagyu is very marbled beef, basically.
I'm gonna try this.
Which, again, in a steak sounds amazing, but, like, if you're gonna do ground meat, you could just add extra fat to the ground meat, so you don't need it to be Wagyu beef for that. What makes Wagyu special is that it is a steak that has all that stuff marbled throughout.
This steak first. I have to know if it's worth all the hype. The fat really does melt when you touch it. We gotta hurry this up before the steak melts. Just look at how marbled it is. I've seen less marbles on marbles. I even had to buy a special pan just to cook this damn thing. And they give you sea salt. It has to be this special sea salt, otherwise you're garbage. It feels more like Jell-O than it does steak. My God, it's absolutely stunning. Mrs. Sausage swooped in and ate all the pieces. No, I didn't. This was 1 pound, and now I feel like we're down to 12 ounces. We're gonna split this. Half of this will be turned into sausage immediately, and the other half will be cooked, then turned into sausage. You people are sick for making me do this. So the fattiest one is gonna be turned into the sausage immediately, and this will be our waste but really both of these are being wasted.
This video, someone said he's really gonna burn $200. He's making more than $200 on this video. I guarantee it, so don't worry about it.
Nailed it! Good God! It dissolved into a pink goo. This is the most unexpected outcome I could have ever foreseen. Is it too early to nominate episodes for a streamy? I would like to nominate this episode for a streamy. It's the awfulest. Oil just keeps dripping out of it. Oil just keeps coming. Wagyu is just an oil steak, is what I've come to realize. All right, now it's time to do this the proper way. That's what I'm talking about. In the sausage Avita, honey, don't you know that I love you? All right, in 3, 2, 1, let's sausage. Could have saved some time and just hand stuffed it to begin with. It sounds like little turds going in the toilet. All right, we'll save just enough for a will it blow. It leaks oil. You people don't understand. I've been dealing with oil leaking out of this.
Congratulations, oh God, your name is always hard. Croppa Kinist. Congratulations. I'm very happy for you.
Steak for the entire time. It literally melts at room temperature. All right, so will it blow? Disappointing. Didn't really get that much distance. I'm gonna have to give that will it blow 2 more Gruffalos. We got the cooked steak and we got the non-cooked steak. Here we go. The pan is not ready, and we'll throw this in for good measure. We got a burst. Oh my God, the other side burst.
They look delicious.
I just can't believe it burst after all we've been through. This was an adventure. Just a little bit of pink right in the middle. And how about this guy here? We'll just. Yeah, this guy's fully cooked. So we're gonna try this one first. The cooked steak sausage. When you first bite into it, it tastes like a ground up steak. At least it doesn't taste like a hamburger. However, the more you chew, the more oil that just spills out of it. I guess now we'll try the almost cooked sausage. Here we go. It's awful. It tastes like meat Jello. I will easily give that a 0 out of 5. Get out of there. It's like in the Pirates of the Caribbean movie where the pirates try to eat and everything turns to ash in their mouth. That's like this, except every time you try to eat, it turns into oil in your mouth. We're gonna give this Japanese A5 Wagyu steak sausage a 1 out of 5.
I'm shocked it was that bad. In fairness, that's not what Wagyu beef isn't for that, so.
$200, Mrs. Sausage. $200. We're...
The only person you can blame is yourself.
And I don't!
He's fun. Alright, let me do some bit messages, and then we'll probably raid someone. Pyromancer says, same thing we do every stream, Hannah, regret existence. Steve with a Q with 50 bits says, okay, that's an episode of Ordinary Sausage I don't want to see. Cotton Candy says, my mom had appendicitis as a kid and kept telling her mother that she was faking a stomach ache. My mother's appendix ruptured and she spent a month in the hospital. My dad, or one of his siblings, I forget whom, broke a rib at some point. They fell off something or something. And their parents refused to take them to the hospital because they didn't believe it was that severe. So they had like a broken rib and were just walking around with it for a couple days. Paws Patrol says, more of a Chud Watch thing, but have you run across Good Patriot before? I just overheard some coworkers talking about her last vid. I think I did pull that up. I think it was this. No, maybe it's this one. Good Patriot. Yeah, I'll save her under Chuds. Thank you. Pyromancer says, let me turn someone's medical issues into a springboard for my views. Will Cal, thank you for resubscribing with 4 months, says, have some spare Biden bucks. MW1642, thanks for the 200 bits. Puka the Duka, thanks for 100 bits. Cupcake Chaos with 100. Crystal Cat with 100 says, did somebody say hype train? DM Trey, thank you for gifting a sub. Woohoo Lulu, thanks for 100 bits. Cotton Candy 93 with 100. Kierthin with 100. Prismatic Fairy, thank you for following. Field Waddell, thank you for 20 bits. Anonymous, thank you for gifting a sub. Cotton Candy 903, thank you for gifting a sub. Bardlock Moses with 100 bits. Chaotic Star Whale with 100. Bardlock Moses, thanks for gifting some subs to the community. CMMC 10150, thanks for gifting a sub to the community. Vacation Wolf with 300 bits, thank you. Finally, some math to this credibility. DM Trey, thanks for gifting a sub. Pyromancer with 100 bits says, we have investigated ourselves and found everything we've said to be true. History Chick 96, thank you for the 20 bits, says Tinfoil. Overbeb, thanks for 60 bits. Princess Amelia, thank you for gifting a sub. Bardlock Moses with 100 bits says he sounds like a Christian podcast. Xavier Max, thank you for 500 bits, says, this poor dude, he seems like one of the few that would be worth helping if he were his friends in real life. Keep up the great content and comments. Thank you. Steve with a Q with 100, Puka the Duka with 200, Cotton Candy 903 with 20, says this cope is starting to get ridiculous. Starting to. Princess Amelia, thanks for gifting a sub. Innsmouth Swim Team, thanks for gifting some subs. Shihakujin with a 200. Bardlock Moses with 100 says his mic went downhill. Razzle Tazzle 91 says, go, you shiny tiefling queen. Princess Amelia, thank you for gifting a sub. And 100 bit says, of course he'd use OpenOffice like a loser. Everyone knows all the cool kids use LibreOffice these days. I don't get that. Daddy Sume with 20 bits, Chapamon with 100 says, enjoying my day at home with you on as I work on badges for my channel. You look so shiny and silver. Thank you. We're almost done with the bits messages, by the way. Hang in there so we can raid someone. Daddy Sume with some bits. Here you go, Hannah. I missed it, sorry. Pyromancer says, this calculator boils down to my feelings. It does. Crizio with 50 bits says, where the F is the evidence that Trump is trying to save the world? That's what I'm saying. What is he talking about? Andrew Batella with 20 bits says, remember that circles are the perfect shapes, so circular logic is perfect logic. Razzle Tazzle says, yes, beautiful kitty cat. Cotton Candy 903 says, does he think Trump is a superhero? Oh, for sure. He reads too much Ben Garrison comics. Razzle Tazzle with 100 says, please no, come back Lupine. Pyromancer with 100 says, Peter is wrong. Everyone knows Lupine is pulling the strings. Andrew Batella with 20 bits says, I'm 75% certain that Peter will be wrong, and it's 50% logical that Peter will be wrong, so there's a 125% probability that Peter will be wrong. Prove me wrong, I dare you. Mitchell Drummer, thank you for 20 bits, says this guy's doing Scott Steiner levels of math. Ironic Giant 21, thanks for following. Pyromancer with 20 bits says, Trump drained the swamp of clean water. Wagroads with 100 bits says, Flynn has literally been convicted of lying to the FBI. MMO Addicted says 69%, since you do associate with this unknown satanic and demonic Jake, your partner in crime. Cotton Candy 903 says his credibility calculator, they're more like guidelines than actual rules. Memo Addicted says, Wagyu is amazing in any way. I personally make a cheesesteak sandwich using strips of it and chili jam and some bell peppers. Malachi the Wizard, thanks for resubscribing with 5 months. Steve with a Q with 150 bits becomes the new stream boss. Frizerburn says, I have another submission for your Chud conspiracy nuts. And there's a link. Alright. List of Chuds confirmed. And then MMO Addicted says, I usually put just a dash of raclette over it, also for the next time I have an amazing story about Poland and Long Pig. It's the most bizarre thing I've heard in a long time. Oh no. I look forward to it. Okay, now it's time to raid somebody. Somebody that I used to know. Somebody. She definitely doesn't need any. She's got 6,000 years. She's the one that does, like, the crazy VTube thing where it's, like, a full motion tracksuit. It's nuts. Have you seen her? She does the Code Miku thing or whatever. Comrade Mav? Sure. I think they're fighting each other, though.
Okay, let them fight each other then, I guess, and see which one of them is victorious, and if someone reigns victorious.
This person isn't a tanky, right? I gotta check because of I assume this is all just a meme. That's fine. I just want to make sure before I raid this person because I don't want to raid a tanky.
That is extremely good.
What's ML mean?
We did it!
I don't know what ML means. Am I old? Do I not know internet lingo?
The other end of the swamp, and there's not anything.
Plains.
Yeah, it just
Marxist Leninist.
And that's correct.
Eh. I'm gonna raid someone else.
Do we want to run back to the boat and check the one across the way?
I gotta edit yesterday's and today's streams. Means MILF Leviathan. God damn it, I just gotta pick someone. It doesn't even matter. Screw it, we'll do Blizzbear. Comrade Devin says you should raid Blizzbear. That's what I'm gonna do. Alright, thanks everyone. Have a good night. We'll be doing, shoot. Why can't I? Oh, we're doing Charisma saves tonight around 8:30. So probably 9, because we're always late on actual Jake's channel. Other than that, you're all valid. Have a wonderful evening. Good night, everybody. See you tomorrow.